Chapter 1, The Waste of the Duong Family. In the imperial capital, within Prince Oivu's mansion, in Duong Loi's small courtyard. Inside the room, on the bed, Duong Loi sat cross-legged. Sungvu continent? Transmigration? Prince Oivu, Duong Hu? Transmigrated to become Duong Loi, the third son of Prince Oivu, Duong Hu, and even a waste, unable to cultivate, not even as good as a servant? Duong Loi was originally an undergraduate student from the 21st century, on the verge of entering graduate school at Huaxia University. But he never expected an accident would bring him to this place, inhabiting the body of Prince Oivu's third son, a waste with zero aptitude, unable to practice martial arts. The Sungvu continent, on the other hand, was a land where martial arts reigned supreme. Here, if one lacked strength, they couldn't take even half a step with ease. Here, human lives were as cheap as straw. Here, as long as one possessed strength, they were considered a superior person, able to openly commit murder and robbery. But, if one lacked strength, they were an inferior being, living a life worse than pigs and dogs. As Prince Oivu's third son, his status could be said to be extremely high. However, the problem was Duong Loi's utterly poor aptitude, making it impossible for him to learn martial arts, thus earning him the reputation of a waste. The entire continent knew that the illustrious Prince Oivu actually had such a good-for-nothing son. Duong Hu was Prince Oivu of the Kinguin Kingdom. At 30 years old, he had achieved the status of a martial saint, a testament to his lofty position and renowned prestige. But this third son, Duong Loi, was not only the result of a drunken escapade but, more importantly, an untalented waste unable to cultivate. This filled Duong Hu with deep shame, leading him to have no affection for this third son. He neglected him, turning a blind eye when Duong Loi was bullied. Although his aptitude was poor, thankfully, heaven took pity on him. A comprehensive cultivation system inexplicably appeared in his mind. This was the most baffling thing for him. He didn't know where this system came from. The moment he woke up, he felt something extra in his head. After carefully sensing it for several days, he finally understood it was a cultivation system similar to an online game. He couldn't figure out its origin, so he decided to stop thinking about it. Perhaps it was a special privilege granted to transmigration. Cultivation methods, martial skills, medicinal pills, divine weapons, it had everything one could possibly need. Novice gift pack? Let's see what good stuff is inside. Duong Loi's eyes scanned the interface. The novice gift pack was something he received when he transmigrated and gained the system, a welfare for newcomers. Do you want to open the novice gift pack? Open. Duong Loi rolled his eyes. Wasn't that stating the obvious? Congratulations, player Duong Loi, you have received 100 accumulation points, medicinal pill, marrow cleansing pill, secret manual, profound origin secret art. Hearing this voice, Duong Loi was overjoyed. This marrow cleansing pill was incredibly timely for him, truly a godsend for a sleepy man encountering a pillow. His own aptitude was poor, but this marrow cleansing pill was an existence that defied the heavens, capable of altering one's physique, enhancing his innate aptitude, and easily changing his current situation. A waste? What a joke. If he consumed the marrow cleansing pill, even if it couldn't raise him to the Zhitian level, it could at least allow him to join the ranks of normal cultivators. What's more, he also possessed a heaven-defying, all-powerful cultivation system. He was sure to stand at the peak. As for the profound origin secret art, it was a cultivation method, and a divine-grade cultivation method at that. This was divine-grade, mind you. From the memories of the original owner, he knew that looking across the entire Sungvu continent, very few possessed divine-grade cultivation methods, and those who cultivated divine-grade methods were without exception peak powerhouses on the continent. Player, do you wish to consume the marrow cleansing pill? The system's voice rang out again. Consume, of course consume. Duong Loi couldn't wait any longer. He picked up the ivory-colored medicinal pellet and quickly put it into his mouth. Immediately afterward, a surge of fiery hot energy spread throughout his entire body. Pain, searing pain, soul-splitting, heart-wrenching pain. This intense agony made Duong Loi feel as if his soul was being crushed, like millions of ants gnawing at the bone marrow and muscles throughout his body. His meridians were incessantly bombarded and torn apart by this energy, only to then begin healing, repeatedly being destroyed and then healed once more, in a relentless cycle. Duong Loi had lost count of how many times he had been healed, each healing process doubled the pain. This kind of torment made Duong Loi want to commit suicide, but he couldn't move at all at the moment, even wanting to die was impossible. Huh. He didn't know how much time had passed, but that intense agony finally subsided. Only then did Duangloi open his eyes. At this moment, his entire body was drenched in sweat, and his skin was as black as ink, emitting a foul, fishy stench. I should go take a bath. Duangloi hastily got up and walked to the pond behind the courtyard. After washing himself, Duangloi returned to his room. Having finished everything, Duangloi impatiently opened the system to check his aptitude. Player, Duangloi level, 0 aptitude, 5 health points, 20 chi energy, 10 accumulation points, 100 free attributes, none cultivation method, none skills, none weapons and equipment, none an aptitude of 5. This was what excited Duangloi the most. His aptitude had originally been 0, but now it had reached 5, meaning he was no longer a waste. An aptitude of 5 met the standard for normal cultivators. Ordinary people had 1 to 3, normal martial artists had 4 to 6, while 7 to 9 was the genius level. As for 10 or higher, those were geniuses among geniuses. Such individuals, barring any unexpected incidents, could become grandmasters or even martial saints. Prince Oivu, Duanghue, had an aptitude of 11. Not only had his aptitude increased, but his health points and chi energy had also risen. He had started with 10 health points and no chi energy whatsoever. It seemed this marrow cleansing pill had not only transformed his innate aptitude but also boosted his life force, and even granted him chi energy. Chapter 2. The Wicked Minion. However, upon seeing the cultivation arts, Yang Lei felt a pang of annoyance. Didn't he also possess a divine grade profound origin secret art? Why wasn't it displayed? Could it be that he hadn't cultivated it yet? Thus, Yang Lei hurriedly took out that profound origin secret art. Player, do you wish to cultivate the divine grade profound origin secret art? Cultivate. Ding. Congratulations to player Yang Lei for comprehending the divine grade profound origin secret art. The system's voice resonated once more. Yang Lei felt a peculiar surge of energy enter his body. This sensation was utterly comfortable, his entire body brimmed with power. Is this the power of the profound origin secret art? Yang Lei checked his attributes. Cultivation art, profound origin secret art, first layer. The profound origin secret art comprised a total of 18 layers, with each advancement being fraught with immense difficulty. It was said that cultivating to the 18th and highest layer allowed one to break through to the martial god realm, reaching the void-shattering stage. Given that reaching the 16th layer of this profound origin secret art already signified the martial god realm, its might was evident. Chi cultivation value, 100. The chi cultivation value had clearly reached 100, yet Yang Lei couldn't help but be astonished. He had only just entered the first layer of the chi condensation realm, and his chi cultivation value had already reached 100. Ordinarily, a first layer chi condensation practitioner would have a maximum of 40 chi cultivation value, yet he had reached 100. This was even before he had begun actively cultivating. If he were to start cultivating, wouldn't it be even more abnormal? As expected of a divine grade cultivation art, it was truly formidable. Yang Clan's trash. Humph, Yang Lei let out a cold laugh. He didn't know why, but every time he thought of those 4 words, a surge of unwillingness, fury, and stubbornness rose within him. Perhaps it was influenced by the memories of the original owner. Very well, I shall help you somewhat. Everything that belonged to me must be reclaimed. As for those who once bullied me, I shall make them regret it beyond measure. Yang Lei had always been someone who repaid grudges in full. In the end, who the true trash would be, remained to be seen. As for that cheap father, the mighty martial king, he would certainly be made to regret it. Yang Lei walked into the front courtyard, just in time to overhear those words. Xiaoyu, come with me. I guarantee it'll be far better than following that trash young master. No. Yang Xiong, quickly let go of me. A frightened female voice, causing a vein to throb on Yang Lei's forehead. Yang Xiong was the son of the mighty martial king's estate's grand steward, Yang Qing, and he frequently bullied Yang Lei on normal days. His designs on Yang Lei's maidservant, Xiaoyu, were also not a recent development. Let her go. Yang Lei pushed open the door and coldly stared at Yang Xiong as he spoke. Oh, isn't this our third young master? Yang Xiong shoved Xiaoyu aside, and she scrambled anxiously behind Yang Lei. At this moment, Yang Xiong glanced at Yang Lei, not displaying the slightest demeanor of a subordinate, but rather sneering as he said, "If you give Xiaoyu to me, I'll give you 100 taels of silver, plus 3 qi gathering pills. How about it?" "Very good." Yang Lei, far from being angry, laughed instead. "You all have embezzled quite a few of my things, haven't you? You dog-like minion, merely a dog of the Yang clan, yet you dare to threaten your master." "Dog? You actually dare to call me a dog?" Upon hearing this, Yang Xiong's face immediately contorted. "You trash, you vile spawn, how dare you insult me as a dog? I think you're tired of living. If you're going to be a dog, you must have the awareness of a dog." Yang Lei let out a cold snort. Although he was only at the first layer of qi condensation, Yang Xiong was merely at the third layer of qi condensation, truly the dregs of the dregs. However, relying on his father being the Yang clan steward, and being highly trusted by the mighty martial king's grand madam, Dongfeng Xiaoyu, he often acted recklessly within the estate, bullying other subordinates, and his favorite target was none other than the third young master, Yang Lei. Though Yang Lei's current strength was insufficient, with his many years of fighting experience from Earth, he felt confident that dealing with this fellow would still be easy. How could Yang Xiong withstand such provocation? This Yang Lei, whom he usually bullied at will, was now clearly acting out of character. How could he tolerate it? With Yang Lei's insults fueling his rage to his very core, he drew a dagger and wildly lunged at Yang Lei. "I'll kill you." The young maidservant Xiaoyu grew even more terrified, crying out in fright, "Young master, quickly get out of the way. Bring it on." When Yang Lei was on Earth, he wasn't just good at his studies, he was also a first-rate fighter. He had practiced martial arts since childhood, his hand-to-hand combat skills were not mere boasts. Therefore, seeing Yang Xiong charge forward, Yang Lei not only didn't dodge but instead met him head-on. Crack! Yang Lei wrenched Yang Xiong's wrist, snatched the dagger, and pressed it against his throat. You, what do you want? My father is the Grand Steward. How dare you treat me like this? My father won't let you off." Yang Xiong stared at Yang Lei in terror. With the blade pressed against his throat, his small life was no longer his own. Yang Xiong was extremely afraid of death, so naturally, he dared not act rashly. "Are you provoking me?" Yang Lei said coldly. Xiaoyu heard this and knew that if the young master truly killed him, the young master would likely not be able to remain here either. Moreover, Grand Steward Yang Qing was a ruthless character. Although he appeared genial and subservient before the mighty martial king and the various madams, he was utterly vicious to others. This was also a sort of occupational hazard. As the estate steward, there were many matters the mighty martial king found inconvenient to personally address, so Yang Qing naturally had to handle them in his stead. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to climb to the position of Grand Steward. "Young master, you must not kill him. If you kill him, the Grand Steward won't let you off." Yes, third young master, if you kill me, you won't fare well either. My father won't let you off." Yang Xiong hastily said. "Humph, if I kill you, who will know?" "Xiaoyu, will you tell?" Yang Lei whispered. Don't kill me." Upon hearing this, Yang Xiong cried out urgently. "Not killing you? Impossible. Today, you are the first step in my revenge. Anyone who has ever bullied me, I will repay 100-fold, 1,000-fold." Yang Lei did not hesitate in the slightest. The dagger in his hand moved with a subtle flick and severed Yang Xiong's carotid artery. Immediately, fresh blood spurted out. You killed me. Young master, you killed someone. You killed Yang Xiong." Xiaoyu was petrified with fear. At this moment, Yang Lei couldn't concern himself with such trivialities, for the system's voice had once again echoed in his mind. Equals 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 Chapter 3, Enduring Humiliation. 1. Ding. You killed Yang Xiong. Experience points EXP plus 200, Qi cultivation value plus 100, accumulated points plus 10. You obtained 10 Qi gathering pills, 1,000 taels of silver, and 1 fine steel dagger. Ding. Congratulations, player level has risen to level 2. Would you like to view your personal attributes? View. Without a moment's hesitation, Yang Lei chose to view it. Leveled up, he had leveled up to level 2. Player, Yang Lei level, 2 root bone, 5 HP, 40 chi cultivation value, 200 accumulated points, 110 free attribute points, 2 cultivation technique, profound origin secret art, first layer, skills, non-equipped weapon, fine steel dagger. His level had risen, he had now reached the second layer of chi refinement. Killing someone felt surprisingly satisfying. Although it was his first time taking a life, Yang Lei felt no discomfort whatsoever. On the contrary, he felt a strange exhilaration. The harvest was considerable, Yang Lei's mood was excellent. He hadn't expected to receive 10 chi-gathering pills. For Yang Lei's current situation, these chi-gathering pills were like charcoal delivered on a snowy day. With them, he could rapidly increase his strength, enough to reach the third layer of chi refinement. However, even with these, his cultivation wouldn't be truly fast. Moreover, the 1,000 taels of silver were a huge benefit to him right now. Although he was the third young master of the Waiwu royal manor, his funds were pitifully scarce. Furthermore, he'd never had the aid of medicinal drugs for his cultivation before, or he wouldn't have been stuck at the first stage of chi refinement. Xiaoyu. It was then that Yang Lei remembered Xiaoyu was still beside him. Upon checking, he found Xiaoyu had long since fainted. And Yang Xiong's corpse had already vanished without a trace. Could killing truly be like slaying monsters, where once killed, the body quickly disappears? However, this also saved him a lot of trouble, as disposing of a corpse would require quite an effort. Xiaoyu, wake up. Yang Lei gently patted Xiaoyu's delicate face. Young master, hurry and leave, hurry and leave. Xiaoyu, are you all right? Seeing her awaken, Yang Lei breathed a sigh of relief. Perhaps the recent events had frightened her considerably. This little maidservant had always been extremely loyal to him, and she was a future beauty. Although only 14, she was already quite alluring, otherwise, that Yang Xiong wouldn't have been pestering her. Young master, where's Yang Xiong? Was I dreaming? Xiaoyu looked around, finding nothing out of the ordinary. There was no trace of Yang Xiong's body, nor any bloodstains. Yang Lei also found it strange. There had clearly been blood splattered on him, but now there was none. If not for the circulating true chi within his body, and if not for the system notifying him that his level attributes had changed to level 2, Yang Lei himself would have thought he was dreaming. However, seeing Xiaoyu's state, Yang Lei didn't bother to explain. Yang Xiong? Did Yang Xiong come here? If he dares to come again, I'll kill him. He didn't come, it's good that he didn't come. Young master, are you hungry? I'll go cook for you. Hearing that Yang Xiong hadn't come, Xiaoyu sighed with relief, patting her chest, her demeanor utterly adorable. Xiaoyu, you're really beautiful. Xiaoyu blushed at his words, retorting playfully, young master. Come on, Xiaoyu, we won't eat at home today. Let's go out to the drunken immortal pavilion for a feast. Yang Lei pulled Xiaoyu's hand. But young master, I heard that place is very expensive. We don't have any money. Xiaoyu naturally wanted to eat there too, but the key was the lack of money. Originally, as the third young master of the Yang family, Yang Lei received 30 taels of silver each month. However, the head steward, Yang Qing, who managed the finances and was Yang Xiong's father, severely embezzled it, leaving Yang Lei with only 1 tael. Yang Lei knew this clearly but was powerless to do anything about it. It's all right, you don't need to worry about that. We have money, we're not afraid of lacking it. He'd harvested 1,000 taels of silver today, enough for quite a while. Without giving Xiaoyu another chance to speak, he led her out of the courtyard. Ah, the air outside is truly good. As the imperial capital of the Qianyuan kingdom, the comings and goings of people here were extraordinarily bustling every day. Young master, perhaps we should just go back. Gazing at the grand entrance of the drunken immortal pavilion, Xiaoyu said timidly and shyly. It's fine, your young master says, we're not short on money. Xiaoyu was his only companion, his only maidservant. After their meal, he would also have to buy her some good clothes and jewelry. Moreover, he himself needed to purchase some medicinal ingredients. Esteemed guests, please come in. Are there any tables left upstairs? Yang Lei didn't want to sit in the main hall downstairs, upstairs would be more comfortable. Yes, yes. The waiter quickly replied. What would the esteemed guests like to eat? After they sat down, the waiter asked again. Good wine, delicious food, just bring them up. Yang Lei didn't even look at the menu, directly addressing the waiter. Very well, esteemed guests, please wait a moment, they will be served shortly. Just then, a man and a woman ascended from downstairs. They were both splendidly dressed, the man was handsome and refined, while the woman was exquisitely beautiful. Little Lei. The woman's eyes lit up the moment she saw Yang Lei, and she walked over with a surprised delight. It really is you. I thought I was mistaken. In Yang Lei's memories, this woman was the kindest to him apart from his second sister, Yang Yu. Her name was Dongfang Xiaoyu. She was Yang Yu's boudoir sister. The man seemed to be her senior brother, named Wang Kuei, who at a young age had already reached the realm of a martial master. Sister Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu, why are you talking to this trash? Wang Kuei said with a hint of dissatisfaction. Yang Lei gave him a cold look but said nothing. He knew clearly that this Wang Kuei was absolutely a young genius. He himself was only at the second layer of qi refinement and was fundamentally no match for him. What did you say? I forbid you from speaking about little Lei like that. Dongfang Xiaoyu was greatly displeased. Trash is trash. Yang Lei, you actually came here? Are you trying to disgrace my Yang family? Just then, another person ascended from downstairs. Yang Tian. This young man, around 20 years old, was Yang Lei's eldest brother, the Waiwu King's eldest son. His talent was exceptional, though slightly inferior to Wang Kuei. He had still reached the 7th layer of the martial practitioner realm. Yang Tian, no matter what, he is still your younger brother. How can you speak to him like that? Dongfang Xiaoyu knew that Yang Lei's root bone talent was poor, and he couldn't cultivate true qi. Yet, she was greatly displeased, wondering how two brothers, sharing the same father, could treat each other in such a way. Equals 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 Chapter 4, Enduring Humiliation. 2. Little you, this is a matter concerning my Yang family. Yang Tian, this isn't your establishment. I come and go as I please, and I don't need your permission. Yang Lei suppressed the fury in his heart, speaking with a remarkably calm tone. You piece of trash, you still dare to talk back, do you? Instead of cultivating properly, you wander around causing trouble everywhere, tarnishing the reputation of our Yang family, of our Might King's manor. If not for Xiaoyu's intervention, I would have kicked you out of the family ages ago, yet you still dare to speak to me in such a manner. Yang Tian was utterly enraged to hear Yang Lei retort. Humph, so what if it's the Might King's manor? Staying or leaving makes no difference. I, Yang Lei, am not so utterly useless that I couldn't survive outside its gates. Yang Lei's tone remained utterly calm. You're truly something. Yang Tian, choking with rage, pointed a finger at Yang Lei and said, Fine. Since you refuse to remain in the Might King's manor, I shall grant your wish. Let's see how you fare once you're cast out. Just then, the food was served. Yang Lei paid Yang Tian no mind, turning instead to Dongfang Xiaoyu. Sister Xiaoyu, would you like to eat with me? Do you even have money? This food will cost at least 100 taels. You'll be beaten to death for trying to freeload. Yang Tian said coldly. That's none of your concern. You'd best vanish quickly, don't ruin my appetite. Yang Lei retorted. Smack, enraged, Yang Tian slapped Yang Lei across the face. The difference in their cultivation was simply too great, Yang Lei couldn't dodge in time. Humph, Brother Wang, let's go. With that, he swaggered away with Wang Kuei. Why is he like that? Dongfang Xiaoyu fumed. Little Lei, are you all right? Xiaoyu, the maid, gently wiped the blood from the corner of Yang Lei's mouth, her face etched with profound worry. Ding. Player, do you wish to accept the quest, defeat Yang Tian within half a year and reclaim your dignity? Accept. Defeating Yang Tian was a given. He was merely a 7th-level martial artist. With his cultivation system, half a year should be more than enough to defeat him. However, staying in the manor was certainly not an option. Yen Mountain was the best choice. All manner of demonic beasts roamed Yen Mountain, and in its deepest reaches, even 9th-stage sacred beasts could be found. After accepting the quest, and with the blood already wiped from the corner of his mouth, Yang Lei looked at Dongfang Xiaoyu. Sister Xiaoyu, I'm fine. Seeing Yang Lei like this, Dongfang Xiaoyu assumed he was merely putting on a brave face. After all, anyone subjected to such humiliation would be deeply shaken. So, she tried to comfort him, "Little Lei, if you don't want to stay in the Yang family, come with me to the profound mechanism sect. I'll plead with my master to find a solution." Yang Lei shook his head. "It's fine. I will go to the profound mechanism sect, but now is not the time." The profound mechanism sect was one of the continent's 7 great sects. Though ranked last, it was not to be underestimated. Its power was immense, boasting over 10 martial saints and even 3 martial gods. "Little Lei, but..." "Sister Xiaoyu, you don't need to worry. I'm fine." Yang Lei had his own plans. Besides, with no cultivation whatsoever at present, joining the profound mechanism sect would offer no real benefit. Moreover, whether he would even be accepted was another matter entirely. You're truly infuriating me to death." Seeing Yang Lei refuse to listen, Dongfang Xiaoyu stamped her foot in frustration. "It's truly nothing, Sister Xiaoyu, there's no need to worry." Yang Lei was deeply grateful for Dongfang Xiaoyu's heartfelt concern. He silently vowed that once he became strong, he would repay her kindness. "Alright, I'll still go back to the Yang family with you for a bit and tell Xiaoyu what happened. Otherwise, Yang Tian will definitely continue to bully you." Dongfang Xiaoyu sighed. "Sister Xiaoyu, I need to ask you for a favor." "What is it?" "Just say it. Why are you still being so polite with me? I'm your elder sister." Hearing Yang Lei say he needed her help, Dongfang Xiaoyu's face immediately brightened. It seemed he had finally come to his senses. Surely he would agree to return to the profound mechanism sect with her, as staying in the manor would only lead to endless bullying and humiliation. "For the next few days, I would trouble you to look after Xiaoyu for me." Yang Lei looked at Dongfang Xiaoyu. After all, he planned to go to Yen Mountain to raise his cultivation during this period and wouldn't have time to look after Xiaoyu. And Xiaoyu, alone in the manor, would undoubtedly be subjected to all sorts of bullying. As his closest confidant, Yang Lei absolutely refused to let her endure such mistreatment. "No, young master. Do you no longer want Xiaoyu?" Hearing that her young master intended to send her away, Xiaoyu immediately became frantic. "No, Xiaoyu. How could your young master abandon you? Xiaoyu is so obedient, and so good to your young master. It's just that your young master has matters to attend to outside recently, and I worry they might try to harm you. That's why I'm asking Sister Xiaoyu to help look after you for a while. Do you want your young master to be constantly worried about you while he's away?" "Young master, I will obey you." Hearing that her young master wasn't trying to abandon her, a wave of relief washed over Xiaoyu. "Sister Xiaoyu." Yang Lei looked at Dongfang Xiaoyu. "Looking after her is no problem, but the key question is, where are you going? Are you planning to fight them? You can't possibly win against them." Dongfang Xiaoyu looked at him, speaking with utmost seriousness. She knew perfectly well that Yang Lei was fundamentally incapable of cultivation. Confronting Yang Tian would be no different from seeking death. "Currently, I cannot contend with them. That's why I intend to go out and cultivate," Yang Lei said. Dongfang Xiaoyu gasped in astonishment. "Go out and cultivate? Wouldn't it be better to just come with me to the profound mechanism sect?" "Sister Xiaoyu, I know in my heart that I will become strong. In half a year, I intend to shock everyone. Those who once looked down on me, those who once harmed me, I will make them repay 100, 1,000 times over." As he spoke, a hint of fierce resolve flickered in Yang Lei's eyes. "Little Lei. Young master. No more discussion. Xiaoyu, from today, you will go with Sister Xiaoyu." With that, Yang Lei took out 2 items, a jade hairpin and 500 taels of silver, handing them to Xiaoyu. "Xiaoyu, keep these 2 items. This jade hairpin was left to me by my mother. Once you accept it, you are mine. When I gain sufficient power, I will return to the profound mechanism sect to retrieve you. Remember, listen to Sister Xiaoyu. And if possible, follow her and cultivate diligently." Equals 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 Chapter 5. Frenzied leveling. Tunok hadn't expected Yang Lei to give her that jade hairpin. Her face flushed crimson, her heart filled with sweetness. Though she was reluctant, she still shook her head and said, "Young master, Tunok cannot accept this jade hairpin." Tunok is but a servant, a maid. What servant, what maid? Yang Lei said. In my eyes, you are simply a good girl. You've served me for so long, without complaint or regret, this is what you deserve. Standing by, Dongfang Xiaoyu couldn't help but feel a pang of loss and acute discomfort. Little sister Tunok, take it, Dongfang Xiaoyu chimed in. This is little brother Yang Lei's heartfelt intention. Tunok heard this and only then accepted it, thinking to herself that she must strive diligently, so that in the future, she could properly protect her young master, and serve him well. Seeing Tunok accept the gift, Yang Lei looked at Dongfang Xiaoyu and said, Sister Xiaoyu, I'm entrusting Tunok to you. I hope you'll help me take good care of her. Half a year from now, I will give you, Sister Xiaoyu, a pleasant surprise. Dongfang Xiaoyu had no intention of asking for any reward. Taking Tunok's hand, she looked at Yang Lei and said, I will take good care of Tunok for you. But you absolutely must not risk your life against them. If anything happens, take this jade pendant and find me at the Xuanji sect. Dongfang Xiaoyu took a jade pendant from her waist. Holding it, one could feel a chilling coolness, a mere glance revealed it was no ordinary item. Etched upon it were the 4 characters Dongfang Xiaoyu. Good, Sister Xiaoyu, I'm off now. With that, Yang Lei didn't look back, turning and departing. Take care of yourself. Don't act recklessly in all matters. Miss Dongfang, young master. Young master won't be in any trouble, will he? Tunok said, watching Yang Lei's retreating back. He will surely succeed, and he will certainly surprise us. A flicker of inexplicable emotion passed through Dongfang Xiaoyu's eyes. After leaving the drunken immortal pavilion, Yang Lei did not return to the valiant king's estate. He knew full well that returning now would inevitably lead to disaster. Moreover, Yang Xiong's disappearance must have already aroused suspicion, and the target of that suspicion, needless to say, would be himself. Today, though he could cultivate, he was only at the 2nd layer of qi refinement. He hadn't even reached the martial artist realm. To confront them now would truly be a suicidal act. Therefore, Yang Lei rationally chose to immediately head towards Yen Mountain. He couldn't possibly go to Yen Mountain empty-handed, that would be a joke. He absolutely had to prepare some things, medicinal herbs, food, weapons, all were indispensable. Of the 1,000 taels of silver, he gave Tunok 500 taels, leaving him with 500. After a spree of purchases, these 500 taels were almost entirely depleted. Nevertheless, he considered himself well prepared. Having completed all preparations, Yang Lei resolutely stepped into Yen Mountain. Yen Mountain lay in the western part of the Qianyuan kingdom, not too far from the capital, yet not too close either. Yang Lei walked for half a day before reaching the outskirts of Yen Mountain. Half an hour after entering the mountain, Yang Lei finally spotted his first prey, a blazing flame rat. The blazing flame rat was a tier 1 demon beast of the fire attribute, capable of using fire attribute spells, specifically blazing arrows. Kill, kill. For the sake of leveling up, he absolutely had to slay blazing flame rats, and without a moment's hesitation. Fixing his gaze on the target, Yang Lei gripped his adamant dagger and thrust it towards the blazing flame rat. One-hit kill. The system's voice resounded, ding. Congratulations, player, for slaying a tier 1 blazing flame rat. EXP plus 15, Qi cultivation value plus 5. Obtained blazing flame rat meat. What rotten luck. Damn, you're so poor, so pathetic, you drop nothing at all. After slaying a blazing flame rat, Yang Lei couldn't help but feel annoyed. However, Yang Lei was well aware that his current strength was insufficient. Apart from the blazing flame rats, he simply lacked the ability to ambush other demon beasts. I'll kill, 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 kill. Blazing flame rats were abundant in this area, and Yang Lei began his frenzied slaughter of blazing flame rats. 3 days later, after 3 days of frenzied killing, during which Yang Lei slew no less than 1,000 blazing flame rats, including 1 blazing flame rat king, he finally leveled up to level 8 as he wished. These blazing flame rats barely dropped anything, the only equipment they dropped was the blazing flame ring. Ding! Congratulations, player Yang Lei, you have reached level 8. Would you like to view your attributes? View. Player, Yang Lei level, 8 root bone, 5 health points, 200 chi energy, 5,000 accumulated points, 200 free attribute points, 0 cultivation method, profound origin secret art, first layer, skills, none equipment, adamant dagger, blazing flame ring ding. Because player Yang Lei has slain 1000 blazing flame rats, you have obtained the titled Blazing Flame Rat Slayer. Reward, 1 spatial ring. The system's reminder made Yang Lei ecstatically explode with joy. A spatial ring. He already had a spatial system, but its space was too small to hold many items. Consequently, he had to discard quite a bit of blazing flame rat meat, even though it was actually quite delicious and could alleviate hunger. Spatial ring, size, 3 square meters. Can store objects, but cannot hold living beings. This spatial ring could only hold inanimate objects, this much Yang Lei clearly understood. On the sovereign Martial continent, a spatial ring could absolutely fetch an astronomical sum at auction. Such a spatial ring could easily sell for over 10,000 taels of gold, and furthermore, it was something money couldn't necessarily buy. Now that his level had risen to level 8, it meant he had reached the 8th layer of Qi refinement. Each level up required a significant amount of EXP and Qi cultivation value. The further he advanced, the harder it would be to level up. Now, relying on blazing flame rats for leveling was simply impossible. The EXP from blazing flame rats was simply insufficient. He could only delve deeper inside. The deeper he ventured, the greater the danger, this much was crystal clear to Yang Lei. However, the greater the danger, the greater the opportunities. He was now at the 8th layer of Qi refinement, and the distance to breaking through to the martial artist stage was still very long. Don't look at it as merely a difference of 3 levels. From the 8th layer of Qi refinement to the martial artist stage. The key, however, was transitioning from the 10th layer of Qi refinement, the grand perfection stage, into the martial artist realm. This was a bottleneck. Some individuals even remained stuck at this level for many years, some for over a decade. As he continued his infiltration, Yang Lei no longer paid any mind to Tier 1 demon beasts. Unless it was a Tier 2 demon beast, Yang Lei wouldn't even consider them worthy of his attention, nor would he make a move. Equals 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 Chapter 6. 7 kills. Wind Blade Night fell. Yang Lei lit a fire and roasted a rabbit. Watching the rabbit meat turn golden brown, constantly dripping with juice, he took out some seasoning and sprinkled it over the meat. Instantly, an aromatic scent wafted in all directions. Once cooked, Yang Lei couldn't wait to pull it off the skewer. He had to admit, the rabbit meat on Chongwu continent was far more delicious than anything on Earth. After eating his fill, Yang Lei let out a satisfied burp, but then several specks of light suddenly appeared in his surroundings, sending a shiver down his spine. Wolves. It was wolves, and quite a few of them. Counting carefully, there were roughly 20. Yang Lei secretly groaned, raising his torch to illuminate the area, and couldn't help but gasp. Before entering Yan Mountain, Yang Lei had purchased a monster compendium, which introduced all sorts of magical beasts on the continent. The giant wolves before him, each with a colossal physique comparable to a Tibetan mastiff, were clearly not ordinary wolves. They were level 2 wind wolves, magical beasts primarily cultivating the wind element. Wind wolves were pack animals, capable of launching wind blade attacks at enemies, and also engaging in close quarters biting and tearing. Within their packs, there was usually a leader that directed them, possessing a certain level of intelligence. Yang Lei's current strength was merely at the 8th layer of Qi refinement. However, his Qi value was much more powerful than that of an average 8th layer Qi refiner, making him comparable to an ordinary first-stage martial practitioner. Dealing with 2 or 3 wolves would pose no problem, but the crux was that there were 20 here, and they had a leader. If he had reached the martial practitioner stage, dealing with these wolves would certainly be easy, but the key was that he was currently still in the Qi refinement realm. Given the current situation, he had no choice but to go all out and stake everything on this fight. Yang Lei couldn't help but grip the dagger in his hand tighter. At this moment, one wolf launched a probing attack, lunging towards Yang Lei. Unafraid in the face of danger, Yang Lei knew a single wolf's attack couldn't harm him. Seizing the opportune moment, Yang Lei moved, his dagger sweeping forward, aiming for the wind wolf's neck. The strike hit its mark. Striking a vital point, a fatal blow. Ding! Congratulations, player, for slaying a wind wolf. EXP plus 50, Qi value plus 20. Ding! Congratulations, player, for comprehending the skill, unnamed skill. You can clearly discern an enemy's weaknesses and unleash a fatal strike. Please name this skill. Fatal strike. A blessing in disguise, truly a blessing in disguise. He had actually comprehended fatal strike. Awoo. Before Yang Lei could even celebrate, he heard the pack of wolves let out a long howl. The remaining 20-odd wind wolves simultaneously launched their attacks, not only biting and slashing but also unleashing their unique technique, wind blades. Damn it. Yang Lei barely dodged one strike, but his face was still grazed, a trail of blood appearing. Son of a bitch, my face got cut. Before Yang Lei could fully regain his footing, 2 more wind wolves lunged at him again. Seeing this, Yang Lei hastily rolled, then swiftly stood up. Fatal strike. Thwack, 1 wolf fell. But the remaining wind wolves showed no fear, refusing to give up, and attacked again. After enduring several attacks, Yang Lei gradually grasped the rhythm of the fight. However, trouble arose once more. For wind wolves had been slain, but Yang Lei's chi value was severely depleted. If it wasn't replenished, he would likely be in danger. Chi gathering pills. He remembered his chi gathering pills. He still had 10 of them. Thinking this, Yang Lei hastily took out a pill and swallowed it. The surging medicinal energy of the chi-gathering pill instantly spread through his body. Although it didn't fully compensate for his expenditure, it restored more than half of his chi. Yang Lei continued by swallowing another pill. Very quickly, his chi value was fully replenished. Kill. Yang Lei roared, to catch bandits, first catch their leader. If he could take down the alpha wolf, the remaining wind wolves would be no threat. The alpha wolf, however, was not so easily dealt with. As if sensing Yang Lei's intention, it took a step back, but it wasn't a retreat. Rather, it was a prelude to attack. The dignity of the Wolf King would not allow it to back down. Yang Lei knew well that this Wolf King would be tough to handle. Its strength likely approached that of a level 3 magical beast, comparable to a martial master. He was far too weak in comparison. What was he to do? Observing the Wolf King's movements, a glint flashed in Yang Lei's eyes. This Wolf King was off, something wasn't right, its actions seemed, it was injured. This discovery filled Yang Lei with great joy. An injured Wolf King meant his chance had arrived. Thinking this, Yang Lei suddenly accelerated, ignoring the wind wolves attacking from behind, and swiftly closed the distance to the Wolf King. Fatal strike. The Wolf King dodged, and the fatal strike failed. It then let out a furious roar, as if saying, "You dare challenge me, punk?" Then, it spun around and lunged at Yang Lei, spitting out wind blades from its mouth. Damn it. Yang Lei couldn't help but curse, surprised that his fatal strike had actually been evaded. Seeing this, Yang Lei skillfully dodged. The wind blade struck the wind wolf that was trying to sneak attack him from behind. That wind wolf immediately had its eyes sliced blind, rolling on the ground and yelping in agony. The Wolf King grew furious, not expecting its attack to miss so spectacularly. Its wind blades became even more frequent and intense. But Yang Lei grew even happier, each time dodging by positioning another wind wolf in his path. Fatal strike. Another wind wolf fell. In a mere 10 minutes, over 10 wind wolves had been eliminated by Yang Lei, though naturally, a few had also been killed by the Wolf King itself. The Wind Wolf King then let out another roar, and the remaining 6 wind wolves charged forward. Yang Lei swallowed a chi-gathering pill, staring intently at the Wolf King, a glint of madness flashing in his eyes. As the Wind Wolf King approached, opening its large, blood-stained maw, Yang Lei could already smell its foul breath. Fatal strike. Ding. Congratulations, player, for slaying the Wind Wolf King. EXP plus 500, chi value plus 200. Ding. Congratulations, player, for acquiring the secret manual, 7 kills wind blade. Ding. Congratulations, player Yang Lei, your level has increased. Yang Lei felt an immense rush of exhilaration. Once he leveled up, his entire chi value would be fully restored. Although he had previously taken hits from 2 wind wolves, after leveling up, there was absolutely no need to worry, everything would automatically recover. With the Wind Wolf King dead, the remaining 4 wind wolves were no longer formidable. Very quickly, under Yang Lei's onslaught, the 4 wind wolves also turned into experience points. equals 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 Chapter 7. Heaven and Earth Spirit Fruit. Reaching the 9th level of chi condensation from the 8th was nothing remarkable for Yang Lei. The key takeaway was acquiring the secret manual, the 7 forms of wind blade slaughter, after slaying the Wind Wolf King. The 7 forms of wind blade slaughter, a peerless set of 7 techniques, each embodying the power of changing winds and clouds. Wind blade cloud slaughter, wind blade rain slaughter, wind blade snow slaughter, wind blade thunder slaughter, wind blade storm slaughter, wind blade stealth slaughter, wind blade shadow slaughter. The 7 forms of wind blade slaughter, the higher one's cultivation, the greater its might. Unleashing all 7 forms simultaneously yielded boundless power. Do you wish to learn the 7 forms of wind blade slaughter? Yes. Was that even a question? Such a monstrous cultivation art, not cultivating it would be sheer idiocy. With the 7 forms of wind blade slaughter, his strength would surely surge. Ding. Congratulations, player Yang Lei, you have learned the 7 forms of wind blade slaughter. Note, the 7 kills combination poses immense danger, use with caution. The 7 kills combination, immense danger, boundless power. Just thinking about it made Yang Lei nearly drool. This 7 kills combination could unleash 49 times his inherent combat strength. What an utterly twisted secret art. The only regret was the enormous backlash after its use. He hadn't expected such a small Wind Wolf King to yield such a terrifying secret art. This manual was probably no less potent than a divine-grade cultivation technique, though the 7 forms of wind blade slaughter didn't seem to have a specific grade. Do you wish to view your attributes? Yes. Player, Yang Lei level, 9 root bone, 5 health points, 220 chi energy, 6,000 accumulation points, 210 free attribute points, 0 cultivation art, profound origin art, 1st level, skill, 7 forms of wind blade slaughter equipped, fine steel dagger, blazing flame ring, ordinary storage ring. It was a pity he didn't have a good saber today. If he did, wielding it with the 7 forms of wind blade slaughter would undoubtedly be magnificent. Yet, Yang Lei wasn't discouraged. Deep within Yen Mountain, fiendish beasts abounded, and adventurers, martial emperors, and even martial saints often ventured here, many perishing in its depths. They all possessed spirit artifacts, and some even divine artifacts. If he could acquire one, that problem would be completely solved. After a night of rest and recuperation, Yang Lei was refreshed the next day and continued his journey. Oh, this place feels a bit strange. After half a day of travel, Yang Lei found it exceedingly odd. This vicinity was unusually eerie. He'd walked for half a day without encountering a single fiendish beast, not even small animals. It was unnaturally quiet. A pond, this is a pond. Yang Lei had initially intended to drink water, but the moment he touched the pond's surface, a bone-chilling cold pierced him to the core. Hiss. Yang Lei immediately retreated 3 steps, examining it closely. The other side, however, was steaming. Could the other side be scorching hot? A complete contrast to this bone-chilling cold? To verify his suspicion, Yang Lei took a few steps and tried the other side. Sure enough, one side was hot and the other cold, with something akin to a barrier in the middle, separating the 2 extremes of the pond. Because of the rising steam, and his previous lack of careful observation, Yang Lei only now noticed a small island in the center of the pond. A wondrous plant grew there, bearing 2 fruits, one was glistening, translucent blue, while the other was fiery red, like a ball of blazing flame. A yin-yang fruit? A term immediately surfaced in Yang Lei's mind. Indeed, only a yin-yang fruit could grow in such a place. This yin-yang fruit was divided into a yin and a yang part. If consumed simultaneously, one's cultivation would greatly increase, possibly even allowing a martial emperor to break through their bottleneck and enter the martial saint realm. However, obtaining a yin-yang fruit was far from simple. This yin-yang fruit was a heaven and earth spirit fruit, and it was obvious that such a spirit fruit would certainly be guarded by a divine beast. With his current strength, attempting to acquire the fruit was clearly unrealistic, he might even lose his life. But to give up just like that, Yang Lei was unwilling, a surge of vexation welling up within him. Of course, the spirit fruit wasn't ripe yet. From what he could tell, it would ripen in about 2 days. This yin-yang fruit ripened at noon, meaning it would be ready by noon 2 days from now. Suddenly, Yang Lei spotted a great white serpent not far away. It clearly had 2 horns growing from its head, a massive head, and a long, flicking tongue. Its eyes, like bronze bells, sent a chill down one's spine. This white serpent's strength was likely that of a martial sovereign. No, it should be at the peak of the martial emperor realm. It probably hoped to break through to martial saint after consuming these 2 fruits. According to the classification of fiendish beasts, this white serpent, no, it should be called a flood dragon, was at the peak of the 8th rank. Once it entered the 9th rank, it could become a sacred beast, transform into human form, and cultivate freely. However, the white serpent didn't seem to pay Yang Lei any mind, likely because Yang Lei's strength wasn't even that of a martial practitioner. He was merely an ant, or perhaps even less than an ant in the white serpent's eyes, utterly unworthy of its attention. This meant he still had a chance. When the yin-yang fruit ripened, an unusual phenomenon was bound to occur, drawing other high-level fiendish beasts to contend for it. If his luck held out then, he could perhaps reap the spoils as the fisherman. However, it wouldn't be easy to play the fisherman. Moreover, the yin-yang fruit wasn't of much use to Yang Lei in his current state. After all, his cultivation was only at the 9th level of qi condensation, he simply couldn't consume the yin-yang fruit. If he were to eat it, the only outcome would undoubtedly be his body exploding and him perishing. Still, the yin-yang fruit was a heaven and earth spirit fruit. As long as he reached the martial sovereign realm, he could consume it, and his cultivation would undoubtedly surge. He couldn't simply give up on it. Yang Lei had originally wanted to leave and return 2 days later at noon, but seeing that the white serpent held no interest in him, he decided to stay. Yang Lei had a feeling that the white serpent wouldn't harm him, provided he didn't attempt to seize the yin-yang fruit. Otherwise, it wouldn't hesitate to swallow him whole. As night approached, he began to feel hungry. Yang Lei lit a fire and roasted the rabbit he had caught earlier. Once the rabbit meat was cooked, its aroma spread far and wide. Yang Lei had just taken a bite when he heard a hiss sound. Reacting quickly, he turned his head to see the flood dragon's 2 eyes staring intently at the roasted rabbit in his hand. Chapter 8 Peak struggle. Dung Loi gulped, a thought forming in his mind. Could this white snake possibly enjoy roasted food? However, seeing its current demeanor, he knew if he didn't feed it, he likely wouldn't fare well. Truly, no one dared sleep beside a hungry snake. So, he tossed the rabbit meat in his hand towards the white snake. Its wide, white maw opened, swallowing the roasted rabbit whole in one bite, yet its expression remained unsatisfied, its gaze fixed on Dung Loi. Dung Loi sighed helplessly, retrieving more provisions from his storage ring. He quickly started a fire, and soon 2 more rabbits were roasted to perfection. He then tossed them to the white snake. Without the slightest bit of ceremony, the white snake opened its mouth and devoured them. Once finished, its glistening eyes stared intently at the other roasted rabbit in Dung Loi's hand. "All right, take it. Consider it my misfortune." Dung Loi had no choice but to give the last one to the white snake. Seeing the white snake still watching him, Dung Loi spread his hands. "Still want more? There's none left. If you want to eat again, go catch some prey yourself, and I'll roast it for you." Dung Loi hadn't actually expected the white snake to hunt. But to his surprise, upon hearing his words, the white snake swiftly darted outwards. Less than 2 minutes later, it returned, carrying 2 ursine stags in its mouth, which it dropped before Dung Loi. It then flicked its snake tongue at him, as if saying, "I brought the prey, you deal with it." What the hell, is this a demonic beast? Its expression as cunning as can be. Dung Loi swallowed internally. With things having progressed to this point, Dung Loi could only get to work. He pulled out his star-steel dagger and quickly prepared one of the ursine stags, placing it over the fire frame to roast. Roughly half an hour later, the ursine stag was finally cooked. Dung Loi cut off a small piece for himself and gave the rest to the white snake. After the white snake finished eating, it no longer looked at Dung Loi. Instead, it returned to its original spot, doing nothing but lying down and closing its eyes. Seeing this, Dung Loi directly placed the other ursine stag into his storage ring. This particular storage ring had an excellent feature: its interior was a vacuum, so he needn't worry about food spoiling. It could be stored indefinitely without issue. The next 2 days passed pleasantly for Dung Loi. Whenever he wanted to eat, the white snake would go hunt prey, leaving him free to concentrate on studying the 7 killings wind blade. Each of the 7 killings stances had been practiced to perfection by Dung Loi. However, combining all 7 killings into one technique, he could currently only achieve a 2-stance combination. Yet, even a 2-stance combination was already monstrous, granting 4 times his combat power. If he could train to achieve a 4-stance combination, he would possess 16 times his combat power. This meant that if he broke through to the early-stage martial practitioner realm, he could definitely contend with mid-stage martial practitioners. If he reached a 5-stance combination, he could rival late-stage martial practitioners. A 6-stance combination would allow him to match a great perfection martial practitioner. Of course, if he achieved the full 7 killings combination, he could stand on par with a martial master. Reaching the 7 killings combination was merely a pleasant thought. After practicing the stance combinations, Dung Loi truly understood that the difficulty of achieving a full 7 killings combination was far from low. Even with just the 2-stance combination, Dung Loi had only mastered one type. Considering there were 21 variations of the 2-stance combination, one could imagine the immense difficulty. The subtle changes in the 2-stance combination meant that only when he had fully mastered them all could he begin to practice the 3-stance combination, progressing layer by layer. Following this logic, achieving the 7 killings combination would undoubtedly take a significant amount of time. At noon on the 3rd day, the yin-yang fruit was nearing maturity. Its fragrance permeated the surroundings, spiritual qi swirling about it. The white snake stared intently at the yin-yang fruit, unmoving, afraid of missing the critical moment. Just then, a crane's cry echoed through the clear sky. Hearing the sound, the white snake suddenly lifted its head. Watching the great white crane circling overhead, Dung Loi knew his opportunity had arrived. For this great white crane to make the white snake so tense, it definitely wasn't an ordinary crane. Its aura, he noted, was not inferior to the white snake's in the slightest. Indeed, it was just as he expected. The great white crane suddenly swooped down, instantly engaging the white snake in a fierce struggle. They attacked each other relentlessly, their auras incredibly ferocious. The destructive chi force was astonishing, sending trees and plants shattering all around them. Dung Loi was shocked. It's a truly shocking spectacle. These two fighting are actually this terrifying. My cultivation is only at the 9th layer of chi refining, I simply can't withstand that residual force. He continuously retreated, thinking to himself, fight, fight. Fight to the death. It would be best if both sides suffer grievous wounds. That way, I'll become the ultimate beneficiary, and I can even kill 2 major bosses. These are both peak 8th tier demonic beasts. If I kill them, how much experience would that give me? Thinking of this, Dung Loi's mouth watered profusely. Of course, if he could subdue and acquire one of them, that would certainly be incredibly imposing. Having retreated dozens of yards away, Dung Loi was finally out of reach of the chi force. He watched as the snake and crane battled, their struggle having reached a critical juncture. The white snake was covered in multiple wounds, its scales stained with blood all around. The great white crane was also badly off, a large patch of feathers was missing, and it too bled profusely. However, their injuries didn't affect their struggle. On the contrary, it intensified, showing every sign of a fight to the death. Dung Loi understood clearly that snakes and cranes were natural enemies, and for the heaven-earth spiritual fruit, it was even less surprising that they would fight to the death. This made Dung Loi even happier. Whether both died or one died and one was injured, it would benefit him. Perhaps I really could obtain another sacred beast? Oh no, the time has come. The yin-yang fruit was about to mature, but the snake and crane clearly hadn't finished fighting. Dung Loi's heart was burning with anxiety, he wished he could go up and cheer on the snake and crane to fight even more fiercely. One had to know that the yin-yang fruit was a heaven-earth spiritual fruit. If it wasn't picked the instant it matured, it would immediately wither and fall, dissolving into the earth. Naturally, the snake and crane were also anxious. If the yin-yang fruit matured and they didn't consume it, it would be a complete waste. Both had awakened sentience, so they clearly understood the yin-yang fruit's characteristics. Equals 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 Chapter 9, Slaying the White Crane. 1. As the surrounding spiritual energy was completely compressed and poured into the two fruits, these very fruits, the yin-yang fruits, had finally reached full maturity. The great white crane, seeing this, disregarded the white snake and swooped towards the yin-yang fruits. But how could the white snake allow it to have its way? It fiercely opened its mouth, clamping down firmly on the white crane and denying it any chance. Entangled in a fierce struggle, the snake and the crane, neither yielding to the other, found themselves in a stalemate. Neither could seize the prize, and both grew increasingly vicious as their battle intensified. 5 minutes passed. Both combatants were now clearly at the end of their tether. The chi energy they wielded in battle was no longer as potent as before. Yang Lei keenly sensed this. However, he wouldn't dare to step forward yet. Are you kidding? Even though the snake and crane were exhausted, he was still no match for them. If he were to go and pluck the fruits now, those two might abandon their animosity, destroy him first, and then he'd truly be beyond help. Therefore, at this moment, patience was still paramount. As expected, although the snake and crane were spent forces, the fighting power they erupted with was still astonishing, absolutely surpassing the battle prowess of a late-stage martial master. 6 minutes passed. Both were still fiercely entangled. By this time, more than half of the great white crane's feathers were gone. It no longer possessed its former graceful bearing, and one of its legs was limping. The white snake was no better, its body bitten and torn all over, flesh and blood a blurring mess. 8 minutes passed. Now both the snake and crane were on their last breaths, limp and sprawled on the ground. Their eyes, one pair large, one pair small, glared at each other, still refusing to yield. Yang Lei knew this was his chance. There were still 7 minutes until the yin-yang fruits would lose their efficacy if not picked. But Yang Lei was still genuinely a bit worried. What if at this moment, those two fellows still had some strength left? Then he would truly be in deep trouble. Another minute passed. Only 6 minutes remained until the yin-yang fruits would lose their potency. The snake and crane still glared at each other, their auras growing weaker and weaker. Finally, feeling at ease, he stepped lightly and immediately approached the two great beasts. As soon as Yang Lei approached, the eyes of both the snake and crane changed drastically. The white crane even glared threateningly at him. Yang Lei couldn't help but smile. This fellow, on the verge of death, actually dares to glare at me? This is simply seeking death. It just so happens I'm in need of some experience. Such a prime opportunity absolutely could not be let go. Yang Lei grabbed his dagger, walked in front of the white crane, and was preparing to deliver a fatal blow, but he didn't expect the white crane to be so treacherous. It actually fiercely lunged towards his eyes. Bang! Just at this moment, the white snake moved, unleashing its last remaining strength to strike the white crane with its tail, sending it flying far away. Yang Lei, on the other hand, gasped in a cold breath. If he had been pecked just now, he would surely have been blinded. Enraged, thoroughly enraged, he quickly moved to the white crane's side and immediately delivered a fatal blow. Ding! Congratulations, player Yang Lei, for slaying a martial emperor-level white crane. EXP plus 1 million, Qigong value plus 100,000, accumulated points plus 1,000. Ding! Congratulations, player Yang Lei, for acquiring 1/8 grade wind attribute demonic core. Ding! Congratulations, player Yang Lei, for acquiring the white crane's spiritual wings. Ding! Congratulations, player Yang Lei, for acquiring 1 Earth Tier 6th grade soul condensing pill. Ding! Congratulations, player Yang Lei, for acquiring the hidden wind spirit. Ding! Congratulations, player Yang Lei, your level has ascended to level 10. Ding! Congratulations, player Yang Lei, your level has ascended to level 16. What a rush! He instantly soared to level 16. In other words, he had now broken through the chi condensation stage and entered the martial practitioner realm. Moreover, directly advancing to the mid-stage martial practitioner realm, the 6th layer of martial practitioner. From chi condensation 9th layer to martial practitioner 6th layer in one go. This great white crane was a hell of a boon. If he were to also collect the white snake, could he perhaps enter the martial master level? At this thought, Yang Lei immediately discarded it. Are you kidding? I can't be so ungrateful and disloyal. Just now, that white snake saved my life. As a human, I can't be so shameless. This time, another minute passed, leaving only 5. Yang Lei's attention shifted to the yin-yang fruits in the pond. Only 5 more minutes remained. If he delayed any longer, this spiritual fruit would lose its potency. Therefore, Yang Lei didn't spare a glance for anything else. With a single leap, he arrived in front of the yin-yang fruits. He reached out with both hands and plucked the two fruits. One was cold as ice, the other hot as fire. Whoa, truly the ice and fire dual heavens, he thought. But luckily, I advanced in rank by killing the white crane, otherwise, I really wouldn't have been able to handle this. Having harvested the fruits, Yang Lei once again returned to the white snake's side. He saw the white snake's eyes gazing expectantly at him, then looking at the two fruits in his hand. You want these yin-yang fruits? The white snake gently nodded. Isn't that obvious? It thought to itself. If I hadn't wanted these yin-yang fruits, why would I have fought the white crane to the death, only to let a punk like you snatch the spoils? Yang Lei pondered. If he kept these yin-yang fruits for himself, who knew when he would be able to consume them? He might as well just give them to the snake. Perhaps he could even gain a saint beast? If he obtained a saint beast, then he would truly profit immensely. A saint beast, was an existence comparable to a martial saint. With a saint beast guarding him, even illustrious King Yang Yu wouldn't dare do anything to him. As for Yang Tian and Wang Kuei, he could torment them however he wished. Alright, since you want them, they're yours. Yang Lei fed the two fruits in his hand to the white snake. The white snake consumed the yin-yang fruits, and its entire body began to sway. Gradually, it emitted a white light, which then transformed into a colossal light cocoon, completely enveloping the white snake within. It's about to advance. Looking at the light cocoon, Yang Lei muttered, this kind of advancement, only a saint beast experiences this. Wow. Once it becomes a saint beast, it can transform into human form. I wonder if this white snake is male or female. If it's female, it'll definitely be a great beauty. In that case, the white snake, Lady White, could I also become the protagonist in the legend of Su Xian? Seeing that the white snake's advancement would likely still take some time, he decided he might as well check out the things he had just acquired. Demonic Core ** an 8th grade wind attribute demonic core, which can be used for alchemy, artifact refining, or even for cultivation. Extremely rare. Equals 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 Chapter 10, Slaying the White Crane. 2. If this wind element white crane demonic core were to be sold, its value would surely be inestimable. Yang Lei immediately stored it away. Furthermore, this demonic core was no ordinary item, it was a rare treasure. Not all demonic beasts possessed demonic cores, only those that reached the 6th rank and above could produce one, while demonic beasts below the 6th rank did not. White crane wings, peak-grade spirit artifact, can be bound to a master. Upon binding, it can integrate with one's body, transforming into a pair of flying wings when used, allowing one to soar through the sky. Its speed is linked to one's own strength, the stronger one's cultivation, the faster the flight speed. I'm rich. Yang Lei rubbed his eyes, barely believing the truth before him. These white crane wings were clearly so abnormal, so powerful, even calling them a divine artifact wouldn't be enough. Flight, while achievable by those at the martial emperor realm, couldn't compare to these flying wings. With their speed linked to one's strength, these wings allowed flight as long as one had true qi in their body. Even a martial emperor's flight consumed a significant amount of true qi, certainly far more than these wings, whose speed would also obviously be much greater. Furthermore, these flying wings had no restrictions or requirements, he could use them immediately after binding. This was the ultimate escape divine artifact. With these flying wings, if he couldn't win, he could simply flee. Unless it was a martial emperor realm expert, who could possibly catch him? Amazing, truly magnificent. With this, he'd be laughing in his sleep. Without further ado, he immediately bound them to himself. Ding! White crane wings successfully bound to master. After binding, Yang Lei immediately stretched out the wings and attempted to fly. Thud. Unexpectedly, he didn't adapt instantly and fell straight down, leaving Yang Lei immensely frustrated. Undeterred, he tried again, and again. After several failures, he finally managed to somewhat grasp the technique of flight. Since the white crane wings were so powerful, the other two items probably wouldn't be too bad either. Soul Condensing Pill, an Earth Rank, 6th grade. Medicinal Pill. It can be used to solidify one's martial soul after advancing to the martial emperor realm. This was also good stuff. A medicinal pill used to solidify one's martial soul was absolutely a top-grade pill. Medicinal pills could be divided into 4 ranks: heaven, earth, profound, and yellow, with each rank further divided into 10 grades. The chi-gathering pill he'd used before was merely a yellow rank, 2nd grade pill, an utterly common pill only useful for chi-refining stage martial practitioners. The pill was good stuff, so the remaining item must be similar, a spirit artifact, and a peak-grade spirit artifact at that. Wind concealment, low-grade wind-attributed spirit artifact, can be bound to a master. Increases attack speed by 10%, and attack power by 10%. Has growth potential. Yang Lei couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. A 10% increase in attack power and a 10% increase in attack speed? Wasn't that incredibly potent? The most terrifying thing was its growth potential. Currently, though it was only a low-grade spirit artifact, it increased attack and speed by 10%. What if it became a peak-grade spirit artifact? What if it was promoted to a divine artifact? It could even grow into a saint artifact, That was a legendary weapon. If it truly became a saint artifact, how utterly abnormal would that be? He feared he could sweep across the entire Chongwu continent. This was truly a single blade in hand, and the world is mine. Incredible, simply incredible. This white crane truly lived up to its name as an 8th-rank demonic beast. The treasures it yielded were indeed extraordinary. Bind it. Bind it. He absolutely had to bind it. Ding. Spirit artifact wind concealment successfully bound to master. Yang Lei was overjoyed beyond measure. With this wind concealment, combined with his wind blade 7 kills, its power would be boundless. Today, he was already a 6th-layer martial practitioner, so dealing with Yang Tian would be fundamentally easy. With his strength greatly increased, he was sure his wind blade 7 kills could now fully cultivate the 2 kills united technique. If he could even comprehend the 3 kills united technique by then, he wouldn't fear facing even a grand perfection stage martial practitioner. Thump, thump, thump. This sound emanated from the light cocoon. Yang Lei knew clearly that the white serpent was about to successfully advance. Once successful, it would become a saint beast. With a tearing sound, the light cocoon vanished, and in its place appeared a breathtakingly beautiful woman in a long white dress. On her brow was a snake-shaped birthmark, which only added to her enchanting and alluring charm. Master. As soon as the woman saw Yang Lei, she gracefully stepped before him, her crimson lips parting slightly. Yang Lei was stupefied upon hearing this. Did she really acknowledge him as her master? What a prophet! Truly a prophet! A massive gain! Yang Lei shouted inwardly. Seeing Yang Lei's dazed expression, the woman waved her hand. Master, are you all right? Snapping out of it, Yang Lei hastily asked, No, I'm fine. Why are you calling me master? You saved Susu's life and allowed Susu to advance to a saint beast. Susu has nothing to repay you with, save to offer herself in service, the white-robed woman said. Ding. Saint Beast White Serpent acknowledges you as master. Do you agree? Agree, naturally agree. If he didn't agree, he'd be an idiot. Yang Lei chose to agree. He felt as if something new had appeared in his mind, and his connection with the white-robed woman before him became exceptionally clear. What is your name? Replying to master, my name is Bai Suzhen, the white-robed woman said. Yang Lei's body trembled. Damn. It really is Bai Suzhen, he thought. Isn't this Lady White? Lady White acknowledges me as her master, as her servant? This is truly a massive gain for me. Ding. Player, would you like to view your attributes? View. Player, Yang Lei level, 16 root bone, 5 health points, 1200 true chi value, 106,000 accumulated points, 1210 cultivation technique, profound origin secret art, 3rd layer, skill, wind blade 7 kills pet, Saint Beast by Suzhen equipped items, fine steel dagger, blazing flame ring, ordinary storage ring, white crane wings, wind concealment. After reviewing it, Yang Lei was incredibly excited. His profound origin secret art had already reached the 3rd layer, and he would soon be able to break through to the 4th. Once he broke through to the 4th layer, his true chi value would surely increase again. Alright, from now on, I'll call you Susu. You don't need to call me master, young master will do. Yang Lei said. Yes, young master. equals 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 chapter 11. Damn it, it really is by Susan. Her voice was truly pleasing to the ear, captivating one's heart. He wondered what sound she would make then? Thinking of this, Yang Lei couldn't help but feel a stirring. Of course, this was merely a thought. If he actually dared to speak such words aloud, he might be beaten to a pulp. Tusu, what level have you reached now? Early 9th level. Early 9th level, huh? That means you've reached the Saint Beast rank. Then, Tusu, can you defeat a martial saint now? Yang Lei looked at Bai Sujan as he spoke. If she could defeat a martial saint, he would almost be able to run rampant across the land. However, Yang Lei knew perfectly well that his nominal father was monstrously talented. He'd reached martial saint at the age of 30. Now, he was only around 40, and over the past decade, with his freakish talent, he had probably already reached late-stage martial saint. If Bai Sujan were to fight him, she would undoubtedly lose. No, that's impossible. I've only just entered early 9th level, and my realm hasn't even consolidated. Dealing with a human martial saint is fundamentally out of the question. Bai Sujan shook her head and said. Hearing this, although Yang Lei had mentally prepared for it, he was still a little disappointed. Martial saints were indeed incredibly powerful. But overall, while Bai Sujan couldn't handle a martial saint, she should be unrivaled among those below the martial saint realm. Oh, right, Tusu, are there any other saint beasts in Yen Mountain? If he could slaughter a saint beast in Yen Mountain, his strength would undoubtedly increase greatly. As long as he reached the martial master realm, combined with the 7 killing wind blades, dealing with Wang Kuei would be almost no problem. Yes, I know of 3 saint beasts. And I've heard that in the deepest parts of Yen Mountain, there's even a divine beast. Hiss. Yang Lei couldn't help but take a sharp breath. 3 saint beasts, and even a divine beast? Saint beasts were 9th level, capable of contending with martial saints. Divine beasts, then, could contend with martial gods. Martial gods were rumored to exist on the continent, but only in legends. Rumors claimed that all 7 great sects had martial gods presiding over them, but he didn't know if it was true. Regardless of whether divine beasts existed, it had nothing to do with Yang Lei. Even if they did, he wouldn't dare provoke them. He was only a 6th level martial practitioner, couldn't even handle a 5th level demonic beast, and a 4th level demonic beast still required some effort, forcing him to use the 7 killing wind blades to take it down. Level up. His most important task today was to level up frantically. Once his level rose, he could easily reclaim everything that belonged to him. Those who had once bullied him would have to repay it 100-fold. As for martial saints and martial gods, he would reach that level someday. Young master, is there anything else you wish to ask? If so, please ask quickly. Tusu is about to fall into a coma and needs to sleep within young master's body for a while. Bai Sujan said at this moment. Huh? Yang Lei was stunned, not quite understanding. Why a coma? Young master, Tusu has just broken through to 9th level and become a saint beast. I am currently in a period of recuperation, also known as a weakened state. I need to wait for a period before I can truly become a saint beast and possess the full combat power of a 9th level saint beast. Bai Sujan explained. Ah, so that's how it is. Very well then, I have no more questions. But Tusu, when will you wake up? This was the question Yang Lei was most concerned about. I'm not sure. At best, a few months, at worst, possibly several years. Bai Sujan shook her head. Even she wasn't entirely clear. In truth, from 8th level advancing to 9th level, the weakened state shouldn't be that long, but the key was that Bai Sujan had previously fought Bai He, damaging her foundational essence, which was why she needed such a long time to recover. Oh. Hearing that it might take several years, Yang Lei's heart felt half cold. It seemed that before Bai Sujan woke up, he still had to endure a little, not be too arrogant, or else. Just then, Bai Sujan transformed into a streak of white light and entered Yang Lei's arm. Upon careful inspection, there was a tattoo on his arm, a white snake several chi long, lifelike, resembling a dragon but not quite. Yang Lei stood up and composed his thoughts. He didn't need to be too demanding. Besides, constantly relying on others would be disadvantageous, even if it was his own pet. After all, increasing one's own strength was the kingly path. but he also felt dejected thinking about it. If he had Baisujan's help, he would level up much faster. Now that he had entered the martial practitioner stage, the experience required to advance one level was dozens of times more than during the chi condensation stage. Leveling up was truly difficult. Kill, kill, kill. For several months, Yang Lei hunted monsters day and night, leveling up ceaselessly. Of course, his blade techniques were also diligently practiced day and night. Finally, before 5 months had passed, he broke through the martial practitioner limitation and reached the martial master realm. Once he entered the martial master realm, Yang Lei felt his own strength surge. Moreover, many unclear aspects of the profound origin secret art became clear, and the profound origin secret art itself advanced to the 6th level. Upon entering the 6th level of the profound origin secret art, his cultivation became even stronger, almost comparable to a late-stage martial master. With his 1st level martial master cultivation, his combat power could clearly rival a 7th level martial master, which could be said to be incredibly formidable. If it were an ordinary person with such a profound foundation, the difficulty of advancing would be unimaginable. Generally speaking, the more profound one's foundation, the greater the challenge in cultivation, and the harder it was to raise one's cultivation. But Yang Lei didn't have that concern. With his omnipotent cultivation system, there was no need to worry about bottlenecks. The more profound his foundation, the better. Reaching a bottleneck merely meant he needed a little more experience, just a few more days of killing monsters. 1st level martial master. 5 months had passed since Yang Lei transmigrated to the Chongwu continent and began cultivating. In these 5 months, Yang Lei cultivated diligently day and night, advancing from an ordinary person, or even a good-for-nothing worse than an ordinary person, to a martial master today. To reach martial master in 5 months, if those so-called geniuses knew, they would surely die of shame. Equals 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 Chapter 12, Martial Master Realm 3 Kill Fusion, Shatter. Before him was a 4th grade demonic beast, a blazing flame tiger. This blazing flame tiger was exceptionally ferocious, truly a king. Among kings, even among ordinary 4th grade demonic beasts. Yet, before Yang Lei, it was still not enough to pose a threat. While Yang Lei dared not tackle a 5th grade demonic beast, this blazing flame tiger was no problem. The 3 kill fusion could erupt 9 times his combat power. Yang Lei was originally at the martial master realm, and with his profound chi, he was already comparable to a late-stage martial master. With the eruption of 9 times his combat power, how could this blazing flame tiger possibly withstand it? It immediately perished beneath the wind concealment spirit blade. Ding! Congratulations, player, for slaying a 4th grade demonic beast, blazing flame tiger. EXP plus 10,000, G energy plus 100, 1 tiger whip. Damn it! Yang Lei was utterly frustrated. This damned blazing flame tiger didn't drop anything useful, just a single tiger whip. He had originally thought this old tiger would at least drop something good for him. In recent days, Yang Lei didn't know how many demonic beasts he had slain. He had fought 3rd grade, 4th grade, and even 5th grade beasts a few times. However, despite killing so many demonic beasts, nothing good had dropped. At most, it was just some meat, fur, and such, which truly disheartened Yang Lei. Ding! Congratulations, player, your low-grade spirit weapon, Wind Concealment, has evolved into a mid-grade spirit weapon. It evolved. Yang Lei was overjoyed. His wind concealment had actually evolved. He had originally thought it would have to wait until he reached the martial general stage to evolve, but he never expected it to evolve now. How could he not be pleasantly surprised? Wind Concealment Blade, low-grade spirit weapon. Attack power plus 15%, attack speed plus 15%, 0.01% chance of instant kill. Damn it! Yang Lei rubbed his eyes. The attack power and speed only increased by 5%, which wasn't much of a difference, but a 0.01% instant kill chance was simply too monstrous. This extra attribute, if it could continuously improve, what would it be like to reach a 50% instant kill chance? In other words, as long as the wind concealment blade was drawn, there would be nearly a 50% chance to kill the opponent. Thinking of this, Yang Lei drooled. As long as this attribute of the wind concealment blade kept leveling up, who would dare oppose him? If he didn't like someone, he'd just kill them. If one strike wasn't enough, he'd strike again, and again, until the instant kill activated. However, currently, it was only a 0.01% instant kill chance. In other words, he would have to strike 10,000 times for one instant kill to occur. This probability was indeed low enough. Nevertheless, this was already enough to satisfy Yang Lei. After all, the wind concealment blade was only a low-grade spirit weapon. No, it should be called a mid-grade spirit weapon now. If it could ascend to a high-grade spirit weapon, or even a half-divine artifact, or a divine artifact, then he would surely laugh in his sleep. However, reaching the divine artifact stage, who knew which year or month that would be? Sheathing the wind concealment blade, Yang Lei gazed at the horizon. He had already spent 5 months in Yen Mountain. In other words, there was only 1 month left until the day he was supposed to defeat Yang Tian, reclaim his dignity, and complete his system quest. He had originally planned to reach Martial Master Great Perfection while still in Yen Mountain, but it seemed that wouldn't be possible by then. Still, it was time to head back. He had spent 5 months in Yen Mountain, hadn't seen a single soul, and it had been quite boring. Every day, apart from grinding monsters to level up, he had no one to talk to, leaving him deeply dejected. Someone. One day, as Yang Lei was journeying towards the outskirts of Yen Mountain, just as he exited the Yen Mountain range, he unexpectedly heard sounds of fighting. Thus, Yang Lei soared onto a large tree. Blast it, bandits again. Yang Lei observed the figures fighting in the distance. One side was a group of bandits, and the other consisted of members of the Long-Wind Merchant Guild. It seemed their escorted auction items had been targeted. Should he help or not? Yang Lei pondered for a moment. The strength of these bandits was not weak. One of them had already reached the mid-stage martial master realm, seemingly their leader, while even the slightly weaker ones were early-stage martial masters. If he made a move, dealing with just the 2 martial masters shouldn't be a problem, but if he added the other bandits into the mix, he truly couldn't handle them all by himself. Of course, if he used this opportunity to establish a relationship with the Long-Wind Merchant Guild members, then buying things from the Long-Wind Merchant Guild would also bring him some benefits. He would need many kinds of items later on, so maintaining a connection with them was essential. Having thought all this through, Yang Lei jumped down from a large tree and slowly walked forward. "Oh, what a lively scene here," Yang Lei commented, chewing on a blade of grass. "TSK, that blade strike was a bit weak, why fight like that? Hurry up. Tisk, it's about to stab your back. Friend, watch out, dodge quickly. Yes, just like that, stab him in the crotch. Yes, that's it. Kill that brat." The bandit leader glared fiercely at Yang Lei and snarled at the martial master beside him. "Little brother, watch out." The elder from the Long-Wind Merchant Guild, who also appeared to have reached mid-stage martial master, hastily warned as he saw the bandits charging towards Yang Lei. "What the hell, you?" Yang Lei dodged while shouting, "Why aren't you fighting them? What do you want with me?" "I was just passing by and farting around." Yang Lei had cultivated the Windblade 7 kills, so his footwork speed was even faster than ordinary martial masters. Even without using the Windblade 7 kills, relying on his martial master first layer cultivation, he could contend with a martial master of the 3rd layer. "I'll kill you." That martial master was burning with rage. He, the 3rd brother of the Yen Mountain 3 heroes, was being played with like this. No one had ever dared to speak to him like that, and his chest was about to burst with anger. "Kill me, haha, you really know how to joke around." Yang Lei laughed maniacally. "Aren't you afraid your tongue will rot from all that hot air?" Roar. 3rd brother raised his great hammer and madly slammed it towards Yang Lei, utterly ferocious. If he were hit, his head would surely shatter into a mess of red and white. Yang Lei also became furious. Wasn't this fellow trying to take his life? He drew his blade, the wind concealment blade. Wind thunder kill. Wind swiftness, momentum like thunder. Swish, the blade passed, and Yang Lei retracted his stance and stood still. What kind of blade technique is that?" The arrogant 3rd brother's body froze, and with difficulty, he spat out a few words. "Windblade 7 kills. Good, a fine Windblade 7 kills." As soon as he finished speaking, he closed his eyes and collapsed to the ground. Equals 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 Chapter 13, encountering bandits on the road. A sharp intake of breath swept through the onlookers. Everyone present, witnessing the battle, couldn't help but draw a cold breath, especially the chief and second brother of the Yan Shan three heroes. They were most aware of their third brother Xiong's strength. Third brother Xiong possessed innate divine strength, and with his cultivation reaching the martial master realm, his physical might could rival a mid-stage martial master. Yet today, he had been slain in a single exchange. This clearly demonstrated the terrifying power of that young man. Retreat. We retreat. Chief Xiong decisively ordered. This is no time for jest. That man is so ferocious, so terrifyingly powerful. If we continue like this, we'll end up lying here too. Money can be earned again, but a life is singular. Once gone, truly nothing will remain. As Yang Lei slew third brother Xiong, the members of the Changfeng Merchant Guild surged with renewed vigor. Coupled with the bandits' retreat, their morale soared like a rainbow, and they were about to give chase. Do not pursue a cornered foe. At this moment, the old man shouted loudly. Yang Lei secretly nodded. This old man still possessed some discernment. It seemed he was the steward of this group. Many thanks for your assistance, young brother, the old man said, walking up to Yang Lei and expressing his gratitude. Old sir, you are too polite, Yang Lei said, waving his hand. Even without me, you would have been able to deal with them. That's not entirely true, the old man said, waving his sleeve. If young brother hadn't dispatched third brother Xiong, they wouldn't have been intimidated, nor would they have been routed by us. Therefore, the Changfeng Merchant Guild's narrow escape this time is entirely thanks to young brother's assistance. He saw that Yang Lei was young, yet possessed such profound cultivation, and his extraordinary demeanor clearly indicated he was no ordinary person. If he could forge a connection with him, great opportunities might arise in the future. Yang Lei smiled and said, Old sir, you flatter me. This junior truly didn't do much, it was merely a small effort. Since the old man put it that way, Yang Lei didn't refuse, for it truly was his merit. Young brother, this old man has an impertinent request, the old man said with some difficulty. Please speak. This old man's name is Zhao Yuan, and I am the steward of the Changfeng Merchant Guild. This time, our guild has a shipment of goods bound for the imperial capital. These items are extremely important. We initially thought a low profile would prevent unwanted attention, but it seems we were mistaken. This old man wishes to invite young brother to escort us for a stretch of the journey. As for remuneration, it will surely satisfy young brother. Zhao Yuan looked at Yang Lei as he spoke. Zhao Yuan truly had no other choice. If another group of bandits were to appear on the road, that shipment would certainly be lost. However, with the young man before him, their certainty of success would increase by another layer. Moreover, he could also forge a connection with this extraordinarily tempered youth, a matter of killing two birds with one stone. Elder Zhao, you are too polite with such words, Yang Lei said. As for remuneration or reward, it was simply me acting on a matter of injustice. Regarding the escort, that can also be arranged. After all, this junior also intends to go to the imperial capital. It happens to be on my way, in fact, one could say this junior is taking advantage of the convenience. This stretch of road is not far from the imperial capital, surely no one would dare to rob again. Excellent, haha. Zhao Yuan burst into hearty laughter, extremely pleased, upon hearing Yang Lei agree. With young brother here, this time we have nothing to worry about. Along the way, Yang Lei learned much about the Changfeng Merchant Guild. The Changfeng Merchant Guild was established 3,000 years ago. Its guild master was also a prodigy of his generation. He founded the Changfeng Merchant Guild at 20 years old, and by 40, his cultivation had broken through to the martial saint realm. After 20 years of development, the Changfeng Merchant Guild ascended to become the foremost grand merchant group in the Qianyuan Kingdom. Over the past 3,000 years, the guild had grown to become the premier merchant guild on the continent. The Changfeng Merchant Guild dealt in everything: pills, weapons, medicinal herbs, mineral resources, all trades and professions were connected to it. And in the imperial capital of the Qianyuan Kingdom, Changfeng owned an auction house, which was also the largest auction house on the Chongwu continent. Within it, anything could be auctioned, even divine artifacts had been auctioned before. May I inquire about young brother's esteemed name? Yang Lei was comfortably seated in the carriage, with elder Zhao Yuan, the steward, beside him. Esteemed name? This junior is merely called Yang Lei. So it is young brother Yang. Zhao Yuan said this outwardly, but inwardly, he mumbled to himself, why does this name sound so familiar? Immediately after, a flash of insight struck Zhao Yuan. Isn't this Yang Lei, the third son of the illustrious martial King Yang Yu? The good-for-nothing who couldn't cultivate? No, it must be merely a coincidence of names. The youth before him had a cultivation of at least a mid-stage martial master. How could he be that good-for-nothing third young master Yang who couldn't cultivate? Young brother Yang, are you also a native of the imperial capital? You could say that. Yang Lei sighed. What locality he was from held no meaning for Yang Lei, he was fundamentally not from this world. Today, he wondered if he could ever return. Hearing young brother sigh, is something troubling you? Zhao Yuan asked with a sincere tone. If there's anything this old man can assist with, young brother, just say the word. Though the imperial capital is where dragons and tigers gather, this old man can still do a few things for young brother. Yang Lei, currently, was merely in his teens, at most nearing 20. To possess such cultivation, he undoubtedly had extraordinary talent. If he could help him at a crucial moment, making him owe a favor, then the future benefits would naturally be self-evident. Of course, even if he didn't achieve anything later, his own loss wouldn't be significant. After all, it was a small investment, so why not make it? Yang Lei shook his head and said, truly, it's nothing, just a momentary sigh of emotion. Young brother, do you have any specific plans in the imperial capital? Zhao Yuan looked at Yang Lei and said, if not, would you consider coming to assist this old brother for a while? The treatment will surely satisfy young brother. Poaching talent, this was outright poaching. Yang Lei felt a bead of sweat trickle down, but he also felt awkward. Making him work for someone? Was this a joke? He had the all-encompassing cultivation system, did he need to work for others? Once his strength increased, would he still fear a lack of money? Furthermore, this all-encompassing cultivation system surely wasn't limited to just these functionalities. It surely wasn't just for helping him defeat monsters and level up. Perhaps there were other functions he simply hadn't unlocked yet. Once those other functions were unlocked, they would undoubtedly be incredibly powerful. According to Yang Lei's speculation, if it was an all-encompassing cultivation system, it wouldn't just have these few functions: pill refining, artifact crafting, talisman making. Perhaps all of these were included, just not yet unlocked. Chapter 14. Return to Drunken Immortal Pavilion. Therefore, Dung Loi rejected Tru Vine's invitation without hesitation. To work for him was absolutely out of the question. However, if he were capable of refining elixirs in the future, there might still be an opportunity for them to cooperate. No matter, Tru Vine said, a self-deprecating smile on his face. This old man was being insistent. A young brother of your caliber, how could he possibly care for a mere trade guild? Dung Loi couldn't help but smile wryly. This Truongfang trade guild likely recruited a considerable number of masters. To become the continent's foremost trade guild, it couldn't be that simple. He speculated that even martial sages might be among their ranks. Naturally, Tru Vine wouldn't divulge such details, as they were all classified secrets of the trade guild. Tru Lao, those words of yours are mistaken, Dung Loi explained. In the future, this junior may still have to rely on you. As for why I'm not joining the trade guild, it's because this junior has his own private difficulties, and thus I must decline your kind offer. Half a day later, the convoy finally entered the capital city. Along the way, they did not encounter any further bandit incidents. Gazing at the prosperous capital city of Psan Nguyen Nation, Dung Loi's morale soared. He had finally returned. Now, he intended to completely wash away the moniker of waste, reclaim his dignity, and show the world who was truly the waste. Tru Lao, let us part ways here, Dung Loi said, stopping and looking at Tru Vine. Won't you come with us to the trade guild for a look? No, I can't, Dung Loi said, shaking his head. I'll go when I have time. After all, it's been a long time since I've been home. Indeed, Dung Loi was now somewhat impatient to deal with Dung Thian and finally see who was truly the waste. Then, take this silver card, Tru Vine said. With this card, you can receive an 80% discount on anything purchased at any branch of the Truongfang Trade Guild. Furthermore, take this as payment for your escort services this time. Tru Vine handed Dung Loi 2 cards, one resembled a membership card, while the other was a Thong Nguyen card. This Feng Nguyen card was essentially equivalent to a check on Earth, with similar properties. Then I won't be polite. For Dung Loi, the Feng Nguyen card was nothing special, but the membership card was different. In the future, he would inevitably need to buy things, so it was best to save where he could and not be wasteful. After bidding farewell to True Veen, Dung Loi once again headed to the Drunken Immortal Pavilion. Over the years, the Drunken Immortal Pavilion remained a bustling establishment. "Esteemed guest, please come in," a waiter greeted him. Dung Loi nodded slightly and went straight up to the second floor. After ordering wine and food, Dung Loi drank alone, reminiscing about his time in Yen Sun. It truly hadn't been easy for him to endure those years alone. If he were back on Earth, living alone for so long would have been utterly impossible. But it was because of the belief and stubborn resolve in his heart. Without that resolve, he would never have persevered. As he finished his second cup of wine, Dung Loi spotted the person he detested most, Bong Kui. "Oh, look, the waste who vanished for so long has finally appeared." Bong Kui, initially stunned to see Dung Loi, then approached with a smirk that just begged for a beating. "Hiding for so long, and now you dare to come out? No one's here to help you today, are they?" Dung Loi ignored him, continuing to drink his wine. "Humph, you actually dare to ignore me? How audacious." Seeing Dung Loi didn't even look at him, Bong Kui's anger surged. "You dare to be so arrogant." He slapped towards Dung Loi. At this moment, a glint flashed in Dung Loi's eyes. He extended his left hand and caught Bong Kui's wrist. Bong Kui, a fourth-level martial master himself, was slightly stunned to find Dung Loi had caught him. However, he quickly reacted, twisting his hand back and freeing himself from Dung Loi's grip. "Not bad, huh? The waste can actually trade blows with me." Scram. Dung Loi didn't even look up, put down his wine, and spat out a single word. Good, Dung Loi, you waste, you bastard. Don't think that just because you managed to catch my hand a moment ago, you can act so arrogant. If I don't teach you a lesson today, then I'm not a Vong." Bong Kui's face turned pale. He clenched his fist, forcefully unleashed an attack, and punched towards Dung Loi's face. This punch was full of power. If it connected, Dung Loi would surely be sent sprawling. But would Dung Loi be hit? Dung Loi's eyes flickered. His right hand shot out a punch. Bang, the two fists met, followed by the crunching sound of bone breaking. "Ack!" Bong Kui immediately cried out in pain. He couldn't believe the truth. His punch, infused with 80% of his power, had actually been blocked, and worse, his right hand had been fractured. Scram. Dung Loi looked at him coldly. "Otherwise, I will kill you." "Young master, are you all right?" Bong Kui's attendant hurried to support him. "Dung Loi, you're truly good, truly good. You actually played the pig to eat the tiger. You dared to break my hand. I'll definitely make you pay, you bastard, you illegitimate child." Bong Kui glared at him with venomous hatred, then turned and left, seething. At this moment, the waiter from the wine shop came over. "Esteemed guest, you should leave quickly. The Vong family is not to be trifled with." Dung Loi glanced at the young man, his impression of him not bad. He smiled and said, "It's nothing. Just the Vong family. They can't possibly control the entire capital with one hand." The Vong family was not considered a major clan in San Nguyen Nation at all. San Nguyen Nation had 4 great clans. The first was the Dung family. With the mighty martial King Dung Hu as the most promising figure of the Dung family today, it had secured the top position among the 4 great clans. The second was the Dongfang family, also the family of Dongfang Tuvu. The Dongfang family was similar to the Dung family. If Dongfang Bo Vu hadn't been suppressed by Dung Hu, the top position would likely have belonged to the Dongfang family. The third position belonged to the True family, a renowned alchemist family. Today, the True family's patriarch, True Tu Kai, was already an Earth-grade rank 8 alchemist, capable of refining Earth-grade rank 8 elixirs. It was rumored that he would soon break through his limits and reach Earth-grade rank 9. As for the True family's old patriarch, it was rumored he was already a heaven-grade alchemist. Heaven-grade alchemists were revered and sought after across the entire continent. One could say that the True family's status in San Nguyen Nation was the most stable and unshakable. equals 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 Chapter 15, Mission accomplished, System fully unlocked. And finally, there was the Wang family. The Wang family was originally a newly established clan, and its foundations were naturally far weaker than the other three great clans. However, a genius from the Wang family, Wang Shenwu, caught the eye of the profound mystery sect's Grand Elder 10 years ago, greatly boosting the Wang family's power and allowing it to ascend to become one of the great clans of the Qianyuan kingdom. Alas! Honored guest, you should still heed my words. You struck Wang Kuei, the eldest young master of the Wang family. This is a great calamity, the Wang family will not simply let you off. The waiter advised further. Yang Lei chuckled, saying, so what if it's the Wang family? I'm not afraid. Don't worry, I'll leave once I've finished my drink, I won't make things difficult for you. Yang Lei knew clearly in his heart that the waiter genuinely wished him well. But would he be afraid? It was just a single Wang family. Although he might not be able to contend with them currently, that might not be the case in the future. Moreover, wasn't he a member of the Yang family, the third son of the mighty king? If he weren't a cripple but a genius, and the Yang family still refused to stand up for him, then this Yang family would be utterly undeserving of his care, and any blood ties would be completely severed. Outside the mighty king's manor. Gazing at the grand and imposing mighty king's manor, a deep loathing welled up in Yang Lei's heart. For 16 years, this place had offered not a shred of warmth, only endless coldness. The sole period of warmth had been the time spent with his mother. Regrettably, his mother had passed away when he was 8 years old. Stop right there. Who dares trespass into the mighty king's manor? Yang Lei took another step forward, only to be blocked by the manor guards. Get out of my way. Yang Lei glared at them, his voice icy. You court death. The guard flew into a rage upon hearing this. On normal days, who dared to disrespect them? As guards of the mighty king's manor, no visitor dared to show contempt. Yet, the person before them today was so brazen. Yang Lei didn't even spare him a glance, powerfully kicking out. Thud. The guard immediately fell to the ground, spitting blood. You. Third young master. Humph. The kicked guard struggled to his feet. Brother Zhang, you said he's the third young master? But I heard the third young master was a cripple, unable to cultivate. This. I don't know either. In any case, he truly is the third young master. I've been in the manor for 10 years, how could you not know the third young master? The older guard said. The third young master can cultivate now? Then haven't I offended the third young master this time? What should I do? The young guard said with a hint of panic. Don't worry, the third young master probably won't make trouble for you. The older guard patted his shoulder, comforting him. Yang Lei quickly made his way to his courtyard. Who is here? Seeing someone in his courtyard, Yang Lei couldn't help but wonder if Xiaoyu had returned. No, that couldn't be right. Xiaoyu and Dongfang Xiaoyu had likely gone to the profound mystery sect already. How could she be here? If not her, then who? This courtyard, apart from Xiaoyu, usually had no one else. Who are you? Who are you? Looking at the man before him, Yang Lei said coldly, you've got some nerve, daring to act so presumptuously within the mighty king's manor. Acting presumptuously within the mighty king's manor, haha. This place is originally my territory. Instead, who are you, little brat? How dare you interfere with me? The middle-aged man said. This is your territory? And who am I? Yang Lei snorted coldly. The mighty king's manor wouldn't stoop so low as to seize his residence just because he'd been absent for a few months. The man was taken aback, looking at Yang Lei. Could it be that you are that cripple, young master Yang San? Get out of my place. Yang Lei gazed at him with icy eyes. Though he spoke thus, he was secretly startled within. This man's strength was absolutely not weak, at the very least, he couldn't discern his cultivation. In other words, this fellow was at least one cultivation realm higher than him. Meaning, his cultivation had reached at least the martial king realm. This. Third young master, don't be so heartless. Don't be angry, wasn't it just a temporary use of your territory? After all, you weren't home before. The man, not at all perturbed, put on a smiling face and grinned at him. I won't say it a second time. Yang Lei's eyes remained cold as ice. Alright, consider yourself formidable. But we'll meet again. After speaking, the man leisurely walked out of Yang Lei's courtyard. Watching the man's retreating figure, Yang Lei frowned slightly. This fellow dared to act so uninhibitedly within the mighty king's manor, he definitely wasn't an ordinary person. Moreover, Yang Lei couldn't discern his strength. Although Yang Lei wasn't intimately familiar with all matters concerning the mighty king's manor, he knew clearly that there was no such person within the manor. If he wasn't from the mighty king's manor, yet dared to stroll around it, then this person's strength was bordering on terrifying, absolutely terrifying. The defenses of the mighty king's manor were strict, even a master of the martial emperor realm wouldn't dare to simply barge in. What exactly was this person's identity, or rather, what connection did he have to the mighty king's manor? Since he couldn't think of anything for now, he simply stopped pondering it. Shaking his head, he pushed open his door and entered his room. There were no changes inside the room, it was just as it had been before. What surprised him slightly was that not a speck of dust had accumulated. Could someone still be cleaning for him? Or was it that man? Yang Lei couldn't help but recall the middle-aged man who had just left. If he had been staying here, then it was quite possible. Returning to his own residence was still a bit more comfortable. Yang Lei lay down on his bed, feeling cozy and ready for sleep. He didn't know how much time had passed, but Yang Lei was awakened by a series of knocks on the door. Who is it? Who's outside? Oh, our cripple has returned. I thought you'd been beaten to death outside, perhaps? Before even opening the door, Yang Lei heard a voice he utterly detested. Pushing the door open, Yang Lei coldly gazed at the person before him. Yang Tian, let me tell you, you'd best not provoke me. Oh? You actually dare to threaten me? I see you're itching for a beating. With that, Yang Tian swung a slap at Yang Lei. But would Yang Lei give him the chance? Today, Yang Lei's strength had already reached the martial master realm, while Yang Tian, having made no progress over the years, remained stuck at the 7th level of a martial artist. In Yang Lei's eyes, he was not even worth mentioning. Chapter 16, Pill Refining and Talisman Crafting. Smack. Yang Lei backhanded him, sending Yang Tian sprawling to the ground. Yang Tian, utterly incredulous, covered his face. To be struck by this waste. To be struck by the waste in his eyes. How could he possibly endure it? He muttered incessantly, impossible, impossible. How could I be struck by a waste? This is impossible. Yang Lei sneered coldly, nothing is impossible. You, this waste, aren't even as good as me. Now get lost, or I might not be able to suppress my rage. You. Yang Lei, just you wait. How dare you strike me? Have you eaten the guts of a bear and leopard? Yang Tian scrambled to his feet, trembling with uncontrollable fury. He glared at Yang Lei, his whole body shaking as he roared. Scram. Do you want me to repeat myself? Get out. If you dare to come again next time, I'll break your legs. Yang Lei bellowed in rage. Witnessing Yang Lei's outburst of fury, Yang Tian grew even more terrified. He now clearly understood that he was absolutely no match for Yang Lei today. For some unknown reason, this waste of a younger brother had actually become so powerful that even he, a 7th-level martial warrior, was no match for him. Staying here would only bring further humiliation. If things went truly awry, he might actually end up with broken legs, and that would be a major problem, especially since he had been the one to bully Yang Lei first. The mere thought sent a shiver down Yang Tian's spine. He immediately made his escape, moving as fast as his legs could carry him. Watching Yang Tian's pathetic retreat, Yang Lei felt a complete sense of ease, a satisfaction he had never experienced before. The grievances he had suppressed for over a decade were finally unleashed. His state of mind elevated a level, as if his very soul had undergone a minor metamorphosis. Yang Lei was utterly astonished. Could it be that by dealing with Yang Tian, he had thoroughly appeased the previous Yang Lei, and only now could he truly be considered to have assimilated this body? Ding! Congratulations, player Yang Lei, for completing the quest. EXP plus 10,000, Chi cultivation value plus 100, accumulation points plus 100. Ding! As the player has completed the first quest, the Omnipotent Cultivation System is now fully activated. Accumulation Point Exchange unlocked, Pill Refining System unlocked, Equipment Forging System unlocked, Talisman Crafting System unlocked. Yang Lei was momentarily stunned, then immediately overjoyed. So that was it. He had to complete the first quest for the entire cultivation system to be fully activated. Before, he had always seen the accumulation points value but didn't know what it was for. Now, it was finally clear. The accumulation point exchange system, as its name suggested, was for exchanging things. The pill refining system, needless to say, was for pill refining. The equipment forging system was for forging equipment, and there was also the talisman crafting system, for crafting talismans. Adding the previous leveling system, it seemed the omnipotent cultivation system was composed of 5 main parts. Yang Lei impatiently opened the system interface. First, he checked his attributes. Player, Yang Lei level, 21 root bone, 5 health points, 3200 chi cultivation value, 112,000 accumulation points, 1420 cultivation method, profound origin secret art, 5th level, skill, Windblade 7 kills pet, sacred beast by Suzhou equipment, adamantite dagger, blazing ring, ordinary storage ring, white crane wings, wind cloak. He had reached level 21, which corresponded to the first level of martial master. The system was now fully open, but what exactly was the function of this accumulation point exchange, and these 4 major systems? This was the question Yang Lei was most concerned about. Does the player wish to view the functions of the accumulation point exchange? View. It turned out the accumulation point exchange function allowed him to use his accumulated points to exchange for various items, for example, pills, pill formulas, quests, cultivation methods, weapons, and even a lottery draw. It was essentially like buying a lottery ticket. However, his current level was too low, so there weren't many items available for exchange. Upon closer inspection, only 5 types of items were currently available, 1 type of pill, 1 pill formula, 2 skill books, and a lottery ticket. The pill was a chi replenishing pill, which could replenish depleted jinchi. It was very practical, and required the fewest accumulation points, though it still cost 100 points. The 2 skill books were actually 2 skill manuals, one for elementary appraisal skill and one for elementary archery skill. Both skill manuals required a considerable number of accumulation points. The elementary appraisal skill cost 2,000 points, the archery skill cost 1,000 points, and the lottery ticket cost 800 points. These accumulation points were not easy to acquire. After all this time, he only had 1,420 points. He could only afford the chi replenishing pill, the elementary archery skill, or the lottery ticket. Who knew, perhaps after he leveled up, there would be even better items available, so there was no need to spend anything now. After reviewing the functions of the accumulation point exchange, Yang Lei then activated the pill refining system. Ding. Do you wish to spend 500 accumulation points to learn elementary pill refining art? Learn. Ding. Congratulations, player, for learning elementary pill refining art. Yang Lei felt nothing but vexation, grumbling angrily in his heart. These accumulation points were already hard to come by, yet to open the pill refining system, he still had to learn the elementary pill refining art for a whopping 500 points. This damn system was truly a rip-off. He inspected the pill refining system. Indeed, it was all about pill refining. There were many types: revival pills, chi replenishing pills, essence origin pills, martial origin pills, and so on. But the crucial issue was the lack of pill formulas. Most of these pills required a formula to be refined. Currently, the only ones he could refine were the chi replenishing pill and the essence origin pill. The others were all grayed out, unopened, and required their respective pill formulas to be unlocked before they could be refined. Having finished examining the pill refining system, Yang Lei hesitated for a moment before activating the talisman crafting system. As for the equipment forging system, it wasn't the right time for that yet, he already had his weapons. However, talisman crafting was relatively important. Talismans had always been extremely powerful, though most were single-use. Yang Lei knew perfectly well that in a fight, having talismans would definitely give him an advantage. Therefore, Yang Lei bypassed the equipment forging system and opened the talisman crafting system instead. Ding. Do you wish to spend 500 accumulation points to learn elementary talisman crafting art? Learn. Ding. Congratulations, player, for learning elementary talisman crafting art. Equals 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 Chapter 17, Steward Yang-Qing. 1. Talismans, on the other hand, came in many varieties, but currently, Yang Lei could only refine blazing fire talismans and ice seal talismans. Both types were initial yellow rank talismans, their power not particularly great. However, for cultivators at the qi condensation stage, their effects were remarkably evident. If one possessed more than 10 blazing fire talismans or ice seal talismans, a qi condensation cultivator could even contend with a martial artist. Thus, talisman crafting was a skill he had to learn. If he couldn't defeat someone in a fight, he could simply crush them with talismans. Furthermore, talismans, like elixirs, were rare. Alchemists and talisman masters were highly respected individuals, and naturally, they were usually wealthy. Of course, crafting talismans also required materials, just like refining pills or artifacts. Currently, Yang Lei had no materials whatsoever on him. No, that wasn't right. It wasn't that he had no materials, he still possessed some beast furs and skins. Those, in fact, were good materials for crafting talismans. Upon closer inspection, Yang Lei still felt very fortunate that he hadn't discarded those miscellaneous items, otherwise, it would have been a great loss. Within the Marquis Weiwu's residence, Yang Tian approached Grand Madame Dongfeng Xiyu, crying out, "Mother, you must do justice for your child." "Tianer, what happened? Who hit you?" Seeing the mark on Yang Tian's face, Dongfeng Xiyu erupted in fury. Her son had always been pampered, she herself couldn't bear to even lightly strike him, yet he had clearly been slapped by someone. It was that bastard Yang Lei. Yang Tian gnashed his teeth and said. Dongfeng Xiyu was stunned. "That waste, how is that possible? Wasn't he unable to cultivate? He disappeared for several months, he couldn't possibly beat you, could he? You're at least a 7th level martial artist now, aren't you?" "I don't know either. I originally intended to slap him, but he slapped me back. Who knows what demonic art that bastard used." Yang Tian recalled being clearly beaten by a waist, and his heart raged with fury. He wished he could hack Yang Lei into 10,000 pieces to vent the hatred in his heart. "I want to kill him, mother. I want to kill him." Silence. Hearing her son speak so explicitly, Dongfeng Xiyu couldn't help but snap. No matter what, the Yang family's blood still flows in his veins. "Mother, but I just can't swallow this insult." Seeing his mother like this, Yang Tian's tone softened considerably. He was still very afraid of his mother's anger. "You usually don't cultivate diligently, spending all day indulging in pleasure and lust. Now you're only a 7th level martial artist, you've shamed your father. Even your younger sister is already a martial master. If you had cultivated diligently, how could he have slapped you?" Dongfeng Xiyu felt quite helpless regarding Yang Tian. This son had high natural talent, but he didn't apply himself to cultivation. He couldn't even compare to his own younger sister. "Mother, Yang Tian also felt embarrassed. Recently, news had spread that his younger sister, Yang Yu, had broken through the martial artist bottleneck and stepped into the martial master realm. His heart was filled with endless envy. "Grand Steward, the 3rd young master has returned." A servant, around 40 years old, spoke to a middle-aged man reclining on a lounge chair. Yang-Qing immediately stood up. "Did you say that waste has returned?" "Yes, Grand Steward. He actually dared to return. He harmed my son, and he actually dared to return. If I don't make sure he dies without a burial place, then I'm not Yang-Qing." Grand Steward Yang-Qing slammed a palm onto the table. The large table instantly shattered into pieces. Martial Master Grand Perfection. Who would have thought that a mere steward could actually reach Martial Master Grand Perfection, just a step away from entering the Martial King realm? "Who's there?" Yang Lei was originally cultivating, but his senses were very acute. As long as it wasn't a Martial King, anyone below the Martial King realm stepping into his small courtyard would be detected by him. "Yang-Qing?" Yang Lei's eyes widened. This Yang-Qing was Yang Xiong's father. That day, Yang Xiong was slain by him, his bones turned to dust. And on that day, he had come to his small courtyard, making Yang Lei the prime suspect. Yang Lei also knew that Yang-Qing would not give up, he just hadn't expected him to arrive so quickly. Grand Steward, what brings you here? Could it be for this young master's monthly allowance? How could such a trivial matter dare to disturb the Grand Steward? This truly makes me feel overwhelmed by your favor. Yang Lei, you killed my son. Today, I demand your life in return. The moment he saw Yang Lei, Yang Qing's fury almost exploded, hatred spreading throughout him. The hatred of a son's murder was immense. Yang Xiong was his only son, although his talent was lacking, he was the flesh and blood of his heart. Now that he had long lost the ability to procreate, how could he abandon his quest for revenge after his son's tragic death? Even if the opponent was the Marquis Weiwu's third son, it couldn't stop his heart for vengeance. What's more, Yang Lei was merely a waste, not valued by the Marquis Weiwu. A joke. Your son died, so you come to me to demand an explanation? You're truly audacious. I am the master, you are the servant. Do you intend to let the servant bully the master? Yang Lei roared. What master, what servant? A waste like you still dares to call himself master? Looking at Yang Lei, Yang Qing wished he could eat his flesh and drink his blood. Go. Kill him for me. Four servants immediately roared and surged forward. The cultivation of these 4 servants was not weak, the weakest was at the 9th level of qi condensation, while the strongest had reached the 4th level of martial artist. In Yang Qing's eyes, Yang Lei, that waste, basically had no room to resist. But the reality shocked him. They only saw Yang Lei, 1 punch for each. All 4 servants were knocked to the ground, groaning incessantly. One of them stared wide-eyed at him, then fainted. Aren't you a waste? Waste? Are you a waste? Yang Lei stared at him coldly, scram. Get lost now, or don't blame me for being impolite. Although Yang Lei really wanted to kill Yang Qing, he clearly understood. This Yang Qing was Grand Madame Dongfeng Saiyu's capable subordinate. If he were to kill him now, troubles would definitely increase. In that case, he would hardly have a peaceful day in the Yang family. I never expected this, never expected it. You beastly mongrel, you actually hid your true abilities so deeply. You actually easily dealt with all 4 of them. If I'm not mistaken, your cultivation has probably already reached martial artist grand perfection, hasn't it? Equals 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 Chapter 18, Steward Yang Tan. 2. Yang Tan showed no fear, stepping closer. But even if you've reached martial artist grand completion, you will still die. Martial master grand completion? Yang Lei was shocked. The Yang Tan before him had clearly reached the martial master grand completion realm. A mere steward had hidden his strength so deeply. This was bound to be a fierce battle. Thankfully, he had already completed Tri-Slayer fusion, otherwise, victory would be utterly impossible. TSK, I didn't expect this, I didn't expect our trash third young master to actually be able to discern my cultivation. Not bad, truly not bad. However, you will still die, for repeatedly killing my son. Yang Tan's eyes turned blood red, and icy killing intent continuously radiated from his body. A practitioner of the demonic path? Witnessing this, Yang Lei couldn't help but gasp. This old fellow was actually a demonic cultivator. This was troublesome. A regular martial master grand completion was already a headache for Yang Lei, but he hadn't expected this guy to be a demonic cultivator. Demonic cultivators were far more formidable than ordinary cultivators, their combat power was often double that of martial artists at the same stage. In other words, today Yang Lei had to face 2 martial master grand completion experts. One was already enough to make Yang Lei inwardly groan in despair, now facing 2 filled Yang Lei with endless anxiety. Die. A red light flashed in Yang Tan's eyes as he eerily threw a punch, a streak of dark energy flying straight towards Yang Lei's face. Yang Lei was startled, knowing how potent that dark energy was. If he were to be struck, he would either die or be severely injured. Wind cloud kill. Dodging the attack, the dark energy struck a nearby rock, which instantly disintegrated into nothingness. Cold sweat immediately beaded on Yang Lei's forehead. Excellent movement technique. I didn't expect you to actually evade my strike. But this is only the beginning. Yang Tan extended his right hand, forming an eagle claw, faint dark energy emanating from his 5 fingers. Netherworld Ghost Claw. Damn it. Yang Lei cursed inwardly, this move was truly sinister and perverse. He quickly dodged, but was still a fraction too late, a blast of forceful chi hitting his chest. Taking a deep breath, he gripped the hidden wind blade tightly, a sharp glint appearing in his eyes. Tri-Slayer fusion, slash for me. A white light flashed, and a look of horror appeared in Yang Tan's eyes. He swiftly activated his movement technique to evade, but it was too late. With a wet thud, Yang Tan was struck. Yang Lei let out a soft breath, thinking, finally, a hit. With this move, even if he doesn't die, he'll be severely wounded, cough, cough. I didn't expect this, I didn't expect you to actually injure me, trash. Haha, trash or genius? I didn't expect the world to be so mistaken. But what if you are a genius? You're going to die here. A peerless genius will be crushed in its infancy by me. Yang Tan stood up. Yang Lei's attack hadn't killed him, but it had indeed injured him. A trace of blood seeped from the corner of his lips, making his face appear even more ferocious and terrifying. What kind of perverse cultivation art is this? Yang Lei watched, filled with utter despair. He hadn't expected his strongest move to fail to severely wound him. Was he truly going to die here today? If only Bai Suzhen weren't in deep slumber, with her martial saint realm, dealing with Yang Tan would be as easy as a morning meal. Just as Yang Lei felt despair, a soft cry echoed from afar, demonic fiend, how dare you act so brazenly in my Waiwu royal mansion. Yang Lei looked up and saw a young woman in purple robes gracefully approaching. Second sister. Little brother, you've returned. Yang Yu looked at Yang Lei, her eyes filled with joyous surprise. N. Yang Lei nodded lightly. I've made second sister worry. Chief Steward, why is it you? How audacious. Not only do you cultivate demonic arts, but you also dare to defy a superior. Seeing that the demonic fiend was none other than Chief Steward Yang Tan, Yang Yu was astonished, then immediately roared. Heh heh heh. Since I've been exposed, then both you siblings must die. Yang Tan licked his lips, a ferocious glint in his eyes. Yang Yu's expression turned grim. She shielded Yang Lei behind her. Little brother, stay behind me. I'll deal with him. Seeing Yang Yu draw her weapon, a trace of greed flashed in Yang Tan's eyes. The Heavenly Frost Sword. It's actually the Heavenly Frost Sword. Not only Yang Tan, but Yang Lei's eyes also lit up. It was definitely a high-grade spirit weapon, perhaps even a top-tier spirit weapon. Still, it's inferior to my hidden wind blade. The Heavenly Frost Sword, in the hands of a little girl like you, is far too wasted. It's better if I keep it safe, caw. Yang Tan's grating voice made Yang Yu furrow her brows slightly. You want the Heavenly Frost Sword? Humph, do you even have the capability? Yang Yu's eyebrows knitted together. She brandished her sword and shouted, one sword frost bloom. Coalesce. Still too green. You're only a third-stage martial master, yet you dare to challenge me? You have a death wish. Yang Tan leaned back, his movement technique lightning fast as he evaded the attack, then roared, Netherworld Ghost Claw, break for me. Yang Lei was horrified by this sight. Second sister, be careful. Too late. Yang Tan laughed recklessly. Humph. Yang Yu let out a delicate shout. One sword frost bloom. Scatter. By this time, Yang Lei had recovered more than half of his true chi. His gaze sharpened, he seized the opportune moment and unleashed his strongest strike. Slash. Tri-Slayer fusion. Little beast, trying to sneak attack me? Yang Tan seemed to have eyes in the back of his head. He counterattacked with a claw, striking the flat of the blade. The powerful countershock forced Yang Lei back several steps. However, Yang Tan didn't fare much better, also being pushed back a few steps. Yang Yu looked at Yang Lei's strike, utterly astonished. Her little brother, who was originally unable to cultivate, had suddenly transformed into a master. That strike was no weaker than her own, perhaps even a bit stronger. Cough, cough. Yang Lei spat out a mouthful of blood. The disparity was too great. Even with his Tri-Slayer fusion, he couldn't contend with him. This time, the backlash aggravated his injuries. Little brother, are you all right? Yang Yu hurriedly supported Yang Lei and took out a medicinal pill. Eat this. Yang Lei accepted it. The system promptly displayed, Earth grade Chi replenishing pill, a 7th grade medicinal pill. Can rapidly restore true qi within the body. * After consuming the medicinal pill, Yang Lei's complexion improved significantly. His depleted true qi had also recovered by more than half. Equals 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 equals. Chapter 19. Slaughter. I'm fine, second sister, be careful. This person is extremely powerful, having reached the grand completion of the martial master realm. You quickly go find help, I'll hold him off for now. No. How can this be? He's already so formidable, how could you possibly stop him? Hearing this, Yang Yu immediately refused without a second thought. Sister, listen to me. I'll be fine. As long as you can return within a short while, there will absolutely be no problem. Yang Lei looked at his sister and said. Yang Yu glanced at Yang Qing, knowing full well the head steward's formidable strength, and that he was even a demonic cultivator. If she didn't go find help, it would be utterly impossible to defeat him, even both of them might die. Seeking assistance was the only viable solution. It was just unfortunate that this location was too far from the Yang family's main compound, so even with such a fierce battle, nothing could be heard from outside. Trying to flee and report. There's no escape. Stay here for me. Netherworld Ghost Claw. Another claw strike swept towards the two. Blue light emanated from the claw, its momentum utterly sinister, instilling fear in anyone who saw it. 3 killings conjoined. Die for me. 1 sword frost bloom. Form. Bang bang. Yang Lei and Yang Yu simultaneously spat out mouthfuls of blood. Second sister, go quickly. I'll hold him back. Yang Lei pushed Yang Yu away, a sharp glint flashing in his eyes. With his long saber in hand, he let out a resounding shout, 3 killings conjoined. Die for me. Little brother, you must hold on, absolutely. I'll be back very quickly. Yang Yu stamped her foot and rushed away. Watching Yang Yu's fleeing figure, Yang Qing couldn't help but curse loudly, damn it, you beast. I'll kill you. He knew very well that this place was too far from the main compound, which was why the sounds of their fight weren't heard, and his aura wouldn't transmit that far. This was precisely why he had felt at ease using the demonic Dao secret art he cultivated. But with Yang Yu escaping, his identity would certainly be exposed. Then, he would have no place to live peacefully in the capital of the Qianyuan kingdom, and would even be relentlessly hunted with nowhere to hide. He was the head steward of the prince's manor and knew full well how powerful it was. He had just killed the 3rd son of a martial saint. Even if that son was a good-for-nothing, he was still of the prince's bloodline. Normally, the prince wouldn't care, letting others bully him, but everything had its limits. Allowing you to bully my son was already the extent, but if you dared to kill him, not to mention the deep familial ties, just for the sake of reputation, the murderer must undeniably die. This was precisely why, when Yang Tian had declared he wanted to kill Yang Lei, he was immediately reprimanded by the Grand Madam. Thus, Yang Qing's heart was filled with intense hatred, almost bursting. Netherworld Ghost Claw. Soul reaping, spirit stealing. Yang Lei couldn't help but panic at the sight. This strike was Yang Qing unleashing his full power, and he absolutely couldn't withstand it. Yet, he truly couldn't escape, the attack had already locked onto him. Thus, he could only gamble everything, risking his life in one desperate move. Yang Lei condensed all the true qi throughout his body, channeling it into the wind concealment saber. All his meridians tensed up, his eyes wide open, and he roared loudly, wind rises, clouds surge, rain comes. 3 killings conjoined. Shatter for me. Ding. Wind concealment saber activated 1-hit kill. Ding. Congratulations, player Yang Lei, for slaying Yang Qing. EXP plus 20,000, Qi cultivation value plus 200, accumulation points plus 100. Ding. Congratulations, player, for acquiring the secret manual Netherworld Ghost Claw. Ding. Congratulations, player, for leveling up. Yang Lei felt an immense rush of exhilaration. A 1-hit kill had actually appeared. This was a 1 in 10,000 chance. His luck was truly incredible, if not for this 1-hit kill, he would surely have met a tragic end. He had leveled up again, now a martial master, 2nd tier. Yang Lei knew clearly that future promotions would demand even more EXP, and leveling up would grow increasingly difficult. He wondered when he could finally reach the martial saint realm. What frustrated Yang Lei was that Yang Qing, for better or worse, was a grand completion martial master expert, yet he only dropped a single netherworld ghost claw manual and nothing else. Truly vexing. But then again, perhaps it was fortunate that there wasn't anything else. As soon as Yang Qing died, the remaining 4 servants no longer needed to exist. Yang Lei drew his wind concealment saber, and the 4 were neatly dispatched, turning into EXP. Although these 4 didn't yield any weapons or secret manuals, they did contribute over 100 taels of silver, which just happened to replenish his 2 empty pockets. After collecting everything, Yang Lei sat down, then heard footsteps approaching. Little brother, are you all right? Where is that demonic scoundrel Yang Qing? Yang Yu's tone was filled with extreme worry, and her caring expression warmed Yang Lei's heart. He still had someone who cared about him here. I'm fine, second sister, I'm fine. You don't need to worry. It's just that my spirit force was heavily depleted. In truth, after Yang Lei leveled up, all his attributes were fully restored. However, to conceal his secret, he had to pretend. As for that Yang Qing, he was just chased away by a mysterious expert. Third young master, what did this mysterious expert you mentioned look like? At this moment, the middle-aged man behind Yang Yu spoke up. I'm very sorry, Guard Captain Zhao, but I didn't even get a clear look. That mysterious expert immediately chased Yang Qing away. Yang Lei shook his head and replied. The Guard Captain Zhao was named Zhao Chongquan. He was a guard of the majestic prince's manor, whose cultivation had reached the 7th tier of martial king. His mountain-splitting saber was wielded with divine skill. Though his realm was only the 7th tier of martial king, his true strength could contend with a 9th tier martial king, and he could even battle against a grand completion martial king. Really? Third young master, are you certain? Zhao Chongquan clearly didn't believe him. The former good-for-nothing third young master had now entered the martial master realm, a fact that made him cast a wary eye. He was extremely suspicious whether this third young master before him was truly himself. If someone was impersonating him, the situation would be dire. Guard Captain Zhao, what do you mean by that? Are you implying something is wrong with my little brother? Hearing Zhao Chongquan speak like that, Yang Yu was displeased. Although Yang Lei couldn't cultivate before, now not only could he cultivate, but his cultivation had advanced rapidly, not inferior to her own. For Yang Yu, this was excellent news. Yet, this guard Captain Zhao actually spoke in such a manner, clearly showing no respect for Yang Lei. How could she not be angry? While suspicion might not be wrong, he shouldn't have voiced it so directly. Zhao Chongquan simply didn't possess the qualifications to do so. Equals 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 Chapter 20. Meeting Dongfeng Kanii. My apologies, second miss, I was merely worried. I can assure you, he is my younger brother. You need not say more. Go swiftly and investigate Yang Tan's matter for me. Yang Noyet waved her hand, not allowing him another chance to speak. Yes, second Mississippi. Zhao Truong Khan gave Yang Loi a meaningful glance, then turned and left. Second sister, thank you. After Zhao Truong Khan left, Yang Loi looked at Yang Noyet and said sincerely. We are family, there's no need for thanks. By the way, little brother, how did you cultivate? How did you become even faster than me? Weren't you unable to cultivate? Yang Noyet was utterly astonished by Yang Loi's sudden transformation. Previously, Yang Loi had indeed been unable to cultivate. During the assessment, his root bone aptitude was declared non-existent. Yet now, he had clearly reached the martial master realm. If one's root bone aptitude was 0, it would be impossible to cultivate true qi. Well, that's a long story. Yang Loi patted the chair beside him, gesturing for Yang Noyet to sit down. Then make it short. Yang Noyet sat down and said. Yang Loi pondered for a moment, wondering how he could fabricate a story without any flaws. Actually, it's like this. This time when I went to Yen Mountain, I accidentally discovered a senior expert's cave abode. There, I received a legacy, which allowed me to undergo a complete transformation and attain my current cultivation. So that's how it is. What was the name of that senior? Yang Noyet found this very reasonable and logical. Only by receiving a legacy from such an expert could one undergo a complete transformation, Otherwise, young Loi would absolutely not have been able to cultivate. Come, let's go check and see what your root bone aptitude is like. With that, young Noyet stood up, pulled young Loi's hand, and headed outside. Wouldn't that be inappropriate? Isn't it too late now? Young Loi shook his head and said. It's perfectly fine to go now. Young Noyet insisted. Young Loi was helpless, and could only let her pull his hand, but his heart felt very warm. Soon, the two arrived at the training grounds of the Mightful King's manor. Within the training grounds, testing instruments were set up. This special type of instrument, by simply placing both hands upon it, could test a person's root bone aptitude. Young Loi placed his hands on the instrument, and a faint glow slowly rose. 7-colored. It's 7-colored again. Young Noyet widened her eyes. One must know that a 7-colored glow signified all attributes. That was the legendary Void Spirit body. 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars. Young Noyet was tremendously excited, for stars meant reaching the aptitude of a normal martial artist. 5 stars. A 5-star Void Spirit body. Young Noyet was uncontrollably excited. 5 stars might be considered ordinary, but one must remember that young Loi previously had no root bones and couldn't cultivate. Yet today, young Loi's root bones had reached 5 stars, which very likely meant it was the legendary Void Spirit body. A 5-star Void Spirit body's early cultivation might be considered ordinary, but in the later stages, it would be extremely formidable. A Void Spirit body would completely disregard the heavenly tribulation, directly breaking through to the martial saint realm and entering the martial god realm. Little brother, this is too good. Truly too good, truly too good. Father will surely be overjoyed by this. Young Noyet was overjoyed beyond measure, her smiling face enough to make the 100 flowers lose their color. Indeed, young Noyet was a peerless beauty, her skin as white as snow, her brows long like willow leaves, and her eyes sparkling like autumn water, making anyone who looked into them feel utterly captivated. Young Loi couldn't help but lose himself in her gaze, and only after a long while did he speak. Sister, please don't mention this matter to anyone, all right? Why? This is good news, isn't it? Young Noyet looked at him, puzzled, and asked, Are you perhaps worried? No. Young Loi shook his head. The family assessment is 1 month from now. By then, I will prove myself. Those who once humiliated me, those who once bullied me, I want to challenge each and every one of them. I want to crush them beneath my feet and let them experience what it's like to be a waste. Young Loi's tone was very calm, and young Noyet understood. For over 10 years, bearing the aura of a waste, enduring bullying and humiliation, how unbearable that suffering must have been. Young Noyet wondered, if it were her, she absolutely wouldn't have been able to persevere, she might have ended herself long ago. Mightful King's Manor, Main Chambers. First Madam, his cultivation is not bad. He has already entered the martial master realm. An old man stood respectfully before Dongfang Kanii. Martial master realm, how can this be? Dongfang Kanii stammered in shock. One must know that young Loi had absolutely no root bones, his aptitude was 0. A year ago, he couldn't even successfully break through to body tempering, not even comparable to a common farmer. Yet, how much time had passed since then? He had clearly entered the martial master realm. Such cultivation speed was simply terrifying. Even young Hugh back then was nowhere near as fast. All right, I understand. You are dismissed. Dongfang Kanii waved her hand, then fell into deep thought. The next day, in young Loi's small courtyard. Sister, why are you here so early? Young Loi was very surprised to see his visitor. Young Noyet pulled his hand, Come with me. What is it, sister? As young Noyet pulled him along, young Loi asked, completely bewildered. My mother wants to see you. Young Loi's steps faltered. Dongfang Kanii wanted to see him? Could it be because of Yang Tian's matter? That's right, he had beaten Yang Tian, causing him to lose face. She would naturally want to get even. If she wasn't seeking trouble with him, that would be truly strange. After passing through several spacious courtyards, they arrived inside a room. Young Noyet knocked on the door. Mother, I brought little brother. Good, you may go outside. I wish to speak with him alone. Dongfang Kanii waved her hand, then glanced at young Loi, pointing to a seat in front of her as she spoke, Sit down. Young Loi naturally showed no reservation and casually sat down. Towards this nominal first madam, young Loy harbored not a shred of goodwill. If it weren't for her back then, his own mother wouldn't have died so early. What do you want with me? Is this your attitude towards an elder? Dongfang Kaniai's expression held a hint of dissatisfaction as she looked at young Loy and spoke. Does first madam truly consider me a junior? Young Loy asked in return. Dongfang Kaniai was not lightly angered by these words. The chi energy in her hand erupted, and the teacup she held instantly pulverized into dust. Equals 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 equals